Afternoon. Justin Long.
I think we're going.
Justin Long's our only guest.
It's gonna be a long night.
Hey guys, it's me, Justin.
Oh man,
I thought I would tell you guys some jokes. You guys like jokes?
one man show.
Hello, is anybody out there? Hello? It's really dark. I can't see if anybody's out there.
You guys are making me feel like Justin Short. Are we going? Are we gone?
I think we're live.
All right.
Hey.
So,
Wait for everyone to arrive.
Oh, okay.
I know this is kind of on short notice, and it's an hour later than I normally do it.
Mm.
So, yeah, it might take some time. I'm not sure, but yeah, we can just talk back. Yeah, talk back and forth just about stuff we want to talk about, movies and stuff. Subject of the video is animation stuff, Kubo and the Two Strings, Finding Dory, but whatever else comes in. Hello.
Hey.
There's somebody here.
Welcome.
There's at least one person here.
One is an audience. That's enough.
all right. So, I haven't seen Kubo and the bass strings, or what's it? What is it?
Kubo and the Two Strings.
Two strings. Okay.
I'll do the introduction for that.
Oh, okay.
Hi, all. Hello. Yeah, so this is Video Drone. Live Video Drone stream once again this week. I'm DisRegarding Henry, and I'm joined by some guests this week. Got my brother here, who most of you probably recognize, and our friend, what do you want to go by? Mike?
Felix is good.
Felix?
Yeah.
Okay, our friend Felix.
You can call me Denny.
Denny and Felix?
Yep,
Yeah.
Denny, Felix, and Henry.
Yeah, this one is not being done from the typical spot. We're in Portland. We're staying with our friend here. We're planning a move to Portland soon, so we're kind of scoping things out. And also just hanging out, trying to have some fun. And yeah, decided we'd do a stream from here. So hopefully it all goes well. I don't have my traditional setup, so it probably doesn't sound too good or look too good, but hopefully you're all willing to go along with it. Seems kind of quiet. Should I boost the sound at all? Probably should.
Boost.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Since
How do I do
we're sitting
that?
a little bit far back, so I don't know how it's...
Yeah, I'm not sure how to do that. I probably should have done this before I started the stream, but...
Troubleshooting's really exciting, though.
Nobody doesn't love technical difficulties.
Yeah.
How do I boost volume? I'm not sure.
I think we just scream.
We have to manually ourselves.
We're just gonna scream at you for an hour.
Uh-huh.
I think I figured it out.
Button that says sound. That's...
Input volume? I'll put it... Test 1, 2, test 1, 2. I think that's a little louder.
Looks like it.
Test 1, 2, test 1, 2.
Wouldn't it be output volume? Oh,
Test
okay.
1, 2, test 1, 2.
Yeah, cool.
I think so. Output, I think, would be speakers.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, turn speakers, turn a microphone. All right.
Sweet.
Boost
Awesome.
that as high as it'll go.
Cool.
A bit louder.
Yeah, that looks a little... Whoa!
Hey.
Looks a little better. If we stay back here, I think it'll be okay.
Should be just fine. Okay,
Sound
cool.
all right?
We're in the States, you guys. We're in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon. West Coast. We are in Portland, Oregon, which is super far north in Oregon. We're 15 minutes away from the border of Washington, about 3 hours south of Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, Portland, Oregon. And like Henry said, I live here. This is my casa. And these boys are coming up from Coos Bay. And, yeah, they're thinking
We've known him for a long time. We went to high school together. We've been friends a while.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I think we're just going to bullshit around. This will probably be a pretty loose stream, but yeah, hopefully everybody enjoys it.
We're sweating our nuts off and we're panting. Sorry.
Very
It's
hot.
Really warm. here in
Very
Portland.
hot in here.
I'm sure you've been seeing the updates from places like Arizona where its mailboxes are melting.
Yeah, it's like the apocalypse is happening. I don't want to, I don't know if you get political on your stream, but it's like
I try not to.
Okay, yeah, then I don't know. It feels like the apocalypse is definitely upon us, and I'm not going to say who's responsible for it, but
These are imaginations.
I mean, I let drop some of my political leanings sometimes, but I try not to polarize too much.
Sure.
I try to keep it just about movies.
Good.
Finally got caught up with Twin Peaks. We've been watching Twin Peaks too. We decided, since Felix hasn't seen any of Twin Peaks. We're not going to talk about Twin Peaks this week.
I'm sorry, I know I'll probably ruin this whole stream. I can just go in the bathroom for the next hour if you want.
That's all right. So I think we're going to save Twin Peaks for next week.
Episode.
We'll watch the next episode that comes out tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we'll just talk about the 3 latest episodes next week, probably.
Yeah. Just real briefly, though, last 2 have been really good. Well, that's all I'll say about it, but really good episodes. A lot to talk about, so tune in next week for that.
All right. So is anything you guys want to talk about? Should we keep it around animation?
I mean, as far as movies go, because I mean, I just watched a movie. I have a DVD subscription. I'm one of like the 12 people on the planet who still have Netflix DVDs sent to their house, and
we're supporters of physical media here.
Absolutely. So for like the last 10 years, everyone I know has been telling me, dude, watch American Beauty, watch American Beauty, watch American Beauty, watch American Beauty. And I watched American Beauty, and I learned that wasn't... American Beauty isn't a phrase for the oppression of diverse people. No, American Beauty is an Oscar-winning movie that Kevin Spacey is in. So it's like... I was blown away. I actually really loved it, and I was surprised I liked it, because usually when someone tells you, oh, you gotta see this, like, it's usually always, like, super underwhelming.
Yeah.
So, I watched it, and it's like, I think it's over 2 hours, and I was just blown away. I'm on a huge Kevin Spacey kick right now, because I've been, like, drooling over House of Cards.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, God, like, I'm just, like, this is the first year of my life where I've really, like, followed politics very closely, and now I'm starting to become interested in political movies and whatnot. But even more so, I've been just more interested in Kevin Spacey. So I was like, I want to watch, like, everything this dude has been in, and everyone's been telling me to watch American Beauty, and I know that he's, like, the lead guy in that movie, so I'm going to check this out.
Skip 9 Lives. Do a
I really want to see 9 Lives. It's, and the reason I looked it up, I'm like, how could someone so talented and so, good do something like 9 Lives? And he said he wanted to make a movie that his kids could watch and, like, their friends could watch.
And they put that on the poster.
Did they put that on the poster?
Yeah, they have a quote.
Oh,
the poster
my
for
God.
9 Lives is Kevin Spacey doing this with a cat next to him, and there's a little quote bubble coming out of his mouth that says, "I did this movie for my kids."
That's awesome. I did not know that. I mean,
so he was like, he knew people were going to give him shit for it, so he was very just like, okay, let me get this out there, and you can make fun of me all you want, but I did this for my kids. So.
If he really wanted to do it for his kids, he shouldn't have took a paycheck. I mean, because it's like, yeah, I mean, you can say you did it for your kids, but he made at least a couple million off that, like, without a doubt. Anyway, American Beauty.
For just showing up in a studio and voicing a cat.
yeah, right. Meow. Do the cat have a Francis Underwood like draw like a southern like meow?
I think a little bit.
Yeah.
You feed me some of that Cajun fish.
Oh, I wish my paws had thumbs so I could play PlayStation a little more.
Is that his character in House of Cards?
Yeah. He has a southern draw.
Now.
He's from he's not from Georgia. He's from I'm obsessed with the show. You think I would know? I think he's from some southern state, but anyway, is somebody saying anything about trying to help me out with where he's from? No, it's all good. In Australia, it's freezing. Yeah, I've heard how cold it is in Australia. It's also like the apocalypse down there. Like, people are just losing their minds. But
heat in Oregon is nothing compared to here in Barcelona, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I mean we aren't talking crap, but I think today we're at 101 degrees. So I mean, anytime it's over like 90, it's freaking hot.
Yeah, and Oregonians don't know how to handle it.
No, because we are a rain state. I mean, it rains 300 days out of the year. So like when it goes above 80, people start going ballistic. It's like do the right thing. Like it's just like everyone's pissed off. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody has an air conditioner in their home. I mean, it sucks. But American Beauty, you guys have seen it.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen American Beauty.
Oh God, okay, yeah.
That's one of those big ones that like I still haven't watched.
Right, and I mean that's a big thing for me too. Is like everyone's like, you have to watch Citizen Kane, you have to watch Titanic, you have to watch Gone with the Wind, and I'm always just like, nope. But I broke down, and my love for Kevin Spacey outweighed my need to be a douche to my friends, so I did sit down and watch it, and I loved it.
It's a great movie.
I really loved it. I was very surprised.
You watched it a little while back, and you were telling me you really loved it too.
Yeah. It's been a while since I haven't watched it since high school, so it's a little vague in my memory, but I just remember how great Kevin Spacey was in that role, and he was
won an Oscar.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's one of those where I don't even know what the competition was that year, but it's like
My Cousin Vinny.
It's like they should have just they should have just like wrapped the movie and just handed him the statue and forego the ceremony.
I think it was 1999.
Yeah, which was a pretty good year.
Yeah, it was
Magnolia
a good year.
Came out that year,
right? And I think that was if the IMDb trivia is correct, it's one of 2 movies in the 90s to win all 5 major awards and not be a timepiece.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I mean, it's both those movies are set in current day. I think Silence of the Lambs was what 92.
Yeah, 91.
91, 92.
I thought American Beauty was set in like the 50s. Am I wrong?
No, it very much seems like that because it has the very nuclear family structure, but it is a modern day movie.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey sort of is awakened from his everyday humdrum life into a more independent, like low responsibility lifestyle where he's just living for himself and no longer, living this plastic version of himself.
Right. It's a phenomenal story. I'm not going to tell you anything more than that, but
it's also kind of about Annette Bening. It's kind of about her liberation too.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember American Beauty was one of those movies. When I was younger, my parents rented it. Our parents rented it.
Oh, yeah?
And we weren't allowed to watch it. But I remember hearing the dialogue and being like, at some of the stuff they're saying. I remember, I forget what the line was specifically. It was like, I bet I could suck your dad's dick or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that as a kid and being like, I can't believe they said that in a movie. It was, mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, I mean...
It's so funny you mentioned that. That just jogged a memory in my head. I think I actually watched that tape.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When they rented it from Video and More?
I think so, yeah. It was on VHS tape. I might have watched it. I remember bits of it. Okay.
You remember a paper bag or a plastic bag floating through?
Yeah, I do. There's a kid with the video camera.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was a long, long time ago. I have very vague memories of it. I think I saw the ending, too. I don't know who all watching has seen it, but...
If somebody says that
I think the ending has already been spoiled for me.
We won't
right. But somebody disagrees with us and says it hasn't aged very well. But I definitely disagree.
I think movies that are like portraits of the era. I think for some people they can date very poorly, but for people that still share those emotions, it still has like a universal quality. Because I hear people say like The Graduate has aged very poorly.
Right.
Like I disagree. I think The Graduate has aged very well. I still feel everything very strongly in that movie. So I think it just depends on who you are. Movies that are like capsules,
and definitely where you are in your life too. I mean, kind of like where I'm at. I'm kind of leaving. It's still considered kind of 20s being childhood and kind of actually getting into my adult years and probably studying like who I'm going to be kind of like, for at least the next 10, 15 years. So I mean, like, with the American Beauty story kind of like being afraid of living like just a cookie cutter life and just being afraid of just like mediocrity, reigning, over everything.
Or like getting stuck into a life that is just like what you've been told you're supposed to have.
Absolutely. This is what happiness is. Mm-hmm. This is exactly what, I mean, you have a big house, you have a kid, you have the fence, you have a good job.
Green grass, dog in the backyard.
Exactly. And just kind of like realizing like that is that spoon-fed to me. That's what they say is happiness. But when you get there, it's definitely not enough. It doesn't stimulate you intellectually. You're not engaged with anything around you. I mean, like, especially with Kevin Spacey, his daughter is like a stranger, and his wife is somebody who's completely different from who he first fell in love with. So he's just like completely detached from everything in his life. And I mean, I know that there's some 90s kind of like, structures to that, but I think the themes and the emotions that's conveyed there, I think that definitely transcends the 90s, and I think it can definitely work today.
Yeah.
I need to watch it. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's been so long since, I watched pieces of that tape.
You watched it on VHS.
I mean, in 99.
So, God, how old would I have been? I probably would have been about 9 or 10 years old.
I was 7. I was 7 when it came out. Which is another awesome Kevin Spacey movie.
So that's funny.
It's all related.
It's all about your 7th birthday. That is what.
I need to watch it. I need to watch it. Give it like a real viewing, an adult viewing.
For sure.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Sure.
It passes my test of being a great movie. It has a song by The Who in it.
Yeah, absolutely, it does.
Yeah,
There's a special feature on the Blu-ray that opens with "Who Are You?"
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, oh shit! Like Dana's gonna love this.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember one day when you watched The Limey.
I had to show you The Limey, the
Yeah.
Steven Soderbergh movie.
I still haven't seen the full movie, but after you watched it, you're like, you have to watch the first 5 minutes of this movie, and it's just Terrence Stamp walking around to the Seeker.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the best opening to any movie I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
And the DVD menu has the Seeker playing over it too.
No
so
way.
I had to mute the menu until I hit play. It's like, okay, watch this opening sequence.
Which I think American Beauty uses the Seeker as well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. I loved it. I don't want to talk any more about it because you haven't seen it, but
yeah, someone else said they haven't seen it either, so we probably shouldn't spoil anything.
Move
oh
on,
yeah. Definitely.
I do remember the ending though. I remember the
Yeah.
ending, so
Yeah,
that's already spoiled
Yeah,
for me.
it ends very.
How could you
very
forget the ending?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, the ending for me is definitely. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I mean, I think it ends very well. I think
Yeah.
it's a satisfying ending.
Absolutely.
Satisfying is an odd word to use there, but I mean, it's definitely a.
Yeah, like there's an emotional resolution. to
Yeah,
everything.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
there's really no question left. I mean, it's just kind of the way it is.
Mhm.
I do like Sam Mendes. I think he's a terrific director.
Right. What did he just do?
He did some Bond
Spectre.
movies.
Yeah, he did some Bond movies.
I don't know if he's
Skyfall was
done-
great.
Yeah, I don't know if he's done anything after Bond yet.
Okay.
Spectre kind of got iffy reviews. I really liked it.
It was
I thought it was a
lukewarm.
pretty good entry.
I was kind of halfway on Spectre.
I didn't see Spectre, but I went I don't know what your language policy is, but is it just?
I know what you're about to say.
I really enjoyed Skyfall. I thought Skyfall was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a good one.
mean,
Skyfall's a good one.
and that was, hands to God, the first Bond movie I've ever seen.
Oh, he said the ending for American Beauty spoiled? That sucks.
Somebody ruined the ending for The Sixth Sense for me. That's a big one I haven't
yeah.
seen.
My brother, too, Denny.
Yeah.
You just watched The Sixth Sense,
For
and
the first
he already
time.
knew the ending. He'd
Yeah.
known the ending since he was born.
That's why I've never watched the movie, because I've just always known the ending of The Sixth Sense. Ever since I knew it, I was aware of it being a movie. It was spoiled for me.
Don't
So
you?
then,
I'm sorry. I
It's
didn't
been
hear.
parodied and referenced so
Oh,
many
yeah.
times. It's hard
Yeah.
not to know what the twist at the end of Sixth
Right.
Sense is.
Yeah, and so I put off watching it for years, and I just watched it for the very first time 2 days ago. And it was a great movie. Like, even though I knew exactly what was going on and what was happening, it almost made it that much better, because then I was watching it almost like you would watch it the second time around, where you're looking for details. And then while just looking at it from that point of view, I was like, wow, this is a really expertly crafted thriller. And how, if I didn't know that, I would be led to believe one path, but there's this clearly this other path that this movie is taking, that it's sort of like, it's ghostly, like that you're not seeing, that once you're aware of it, it's suddenly all come to light. It's beautifully done.
Yeah.
Very, very well
Go-
done.
Just for a little comedic break here. Going back to spoilers, I hate people that kind of like introduce movies, but like by spoiling it. Like my dad is so bad about that. My dad will be like, "Hey son, have you seen Star Wars where the Darth Vader guy is his dad and he ends up killing him, but it's all good in the end?" It's like, well, I guess I have now. Like, no reason to watch it. Like, it's just like
My dad did that with Usual Suspects. He spoiled.
Oh,
the
don't
ending.
spoil! Yeah, it's like, I haven't seen Usual Suspects, but it's like,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
good.
so don't, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone knows Star Wars.
And my
But it's
dad
like,
spoiled Reservoir Dogs too.
did
Like
he?
saying who gets away.
Yeah, and only one gets away essentially.
Oh, did I already spoil it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
just-
sorry. I think everyone's seen Reservoir Dogs, but I'm sorry if you haven't.
Yeah,
You should title this stream "Reservoir Dogs Spoilers."
yeah,
Yeah. They,
I mean, it's been out for like over 20 years. Like, get a life, see it.
get a life and then get rid of it so you can watch movies.
Yeah, right.
Stay inside on this beautiful day.
Like, have you seen Rocky where he fights? Like, it's just like,
Well, they spoil that in the fucking trailer. For
yeah, no,
Rocky.
yeah, no. It's
They
out.
show Rocky lose the fight at the end. Of
Yeah,
the
that's
trailer.
true. Yeah, the Rocky trailers are interesting. They basically give you the whole movie condensed to 2 minutes. It's like, you want to see a 90-minute version of that? Well, go to the theater.
Yeah,
That's an interesting concept for the movie trailer.
I don't mind spoiling Rocky though, because it's not about the fight at the end. So
There you
knowing
go, yeah.
they don't even really
That's-
pay much attention to the fact that he loses the fight.
Right,
at the
right,
end,
yeah.
so-
It's about the characters and the journeys that they take.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
is why I think The Sixth Sense still works, even if you know the twist, because
exactly. Yeah.
It's a fully satisfying emotional journey with those characters. And we were talking about that after you watched it, that pretty much the twist doesn't even come until after everything's already resolved. Like, the story comes to a close, and then it's like the tag on the end is the big twist.
Yeah.
So there's just kind of that extra thing put on there at the end.
There's a little discussion happening right now. Movies for Life says that he's had to spoil a few movies. Fight Club is one no one wants to watch until I tell them the plot twist. And then Jack says no one wants to watch Fight Club. That's a good question because everybody I know is either very divisive about Fight Club. Everybody's seen it, and 90% of people love it, and 10% of people hate it.
So famously hate it.
Yeah, and I had to disagree.
That's one of your favorites, right?
I haven't seen it in a really long time, but that was the first movie I ever saw that I was like, whoa, movies can be fucking weird. And, I mean, I saw
That's gotta be, one of the most subversive, big-budget Hollywood movies ever made.
Right, and I mean, if I think back fondly on Fight Club, and I really do enjoy it, and I don't want to sound like some kind of sexist pig or whatever, but the only weak part I thought of the movie was Marla, played by Helena Bonham Carter.
Okay, yeah.
I thought that I just thought her acting was really weird for that. And I had a discussion with a friend the other day, actually yesterday we were talking about Fight Club, and she said for her, hey, let me tell you a secret, I also didn't like her in that movie as well. And I was like, holy shit, I've never really met anyone else who's ever said that before. And I was thinking, who would be a good casting choice for that? And I thought, Winona Ryder, I think, would have really knocked that role out of the park. And I don't know exactly, I like Helena Bonham Carter, but I think in that movie she kind of overacts for me. But I mean, I love Fight Club. I love the soundtrack. I love the actors. I love the source material. I mean, it's just a fun movie for me. And like you said, it's a big budget movie, but it plays very much kind of like an independent, film.
Yeah, with money behind it.
It's
to do that big epic scene at the end.
Right, exactly.
Hey, Volsticks, glad you could join us.
Hey, welcome.
Yeah, I've been back and forth on Fight Club a lot throughout my life. I think the first time I saw it, I was really dazzled by the technique of it.
And it does that, because especially the first half hour, it's sort of it's very subversive.
And very subjective.
Yeah.
The way it renders the point of view of the Edward Norton character.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think I started reading some other reviews and people attacking it for its portrayal of violence. And then I started skewing more towards that end, where I was like, oh yeah, that's a disgusting movie. And now recently I found myself going back over, just thinking it's a pretty amazing film just on a technical level. It's an incredibly well-made film, and just it's almost kind of like a condensed film school. There's so much technique in it, and so much incredible storytelling in it. Great acting,
right?
And really subversive themes. I think I don't just criticize Fight Club for this, but I think movie violence can be a really tricky thing to do, because if you're David Fincher and you're that good at your job, you can sort of inadvertently end up, I think,
fetishizing.
Yeah, fetishizing, and you can sort of defeat your own purpose in a film. I think Scorsese does that a lot too, because he's so good at filmmaking. He makes these movies that are kind of like anti-violence, anti-crime movies. Like Goodfellas, I do not think is a pro-violence movie, but Scorsese directs all of the violent scenes so well that he makes them seem really exciting and really cool, and so it's
kind of nostalgic for gangsters.
Yeah, kind of. Movie. I always think about what Scorsese said about the ending of Goodfellas, that his intention for the audience in those final moments when Henry Hill is like, yeah, I just barely escaped with my life, but you know what? I miss the life of a gangster. All I want to do is go back to being a gangster, because that was the great life, and now I have the shitty life.
Right.
He said, in those moments, those final moments, he wanted the audience to be angry at Henry Hill. He wanted them to be yelling at the screen, you idiot! You almost died! You should be so grateful to have gotten out of that life. But he did such a good job of showing you how much he loved being a gangster that you feel the same thing at the end of that movie. You think, you know what? Yeah, being a gangster was a lot better than being in witness protection.
Right.
Because we felt those emotions so strongly. I think Fight Club does kind of the same thing. I don't think it's a pro-violence movie. I think it's very much an anti-violence movie.
Yeah, I definitely say that.
Yeah, and a satire on masculinity. But Fincher directs the fights and the violence so well, he makes it kind of erotic and
yeah,
make it seem really cool.
That's a good way to put it. I mean, like here's my deal with movies and violent movies or violent music like Marilyn Manson or whatever. Like, I think I give audience members or the general population a little too much credit because when I see a movie, I know it's a fucking movie. Yeah. I don't necessarily emulate the things I see on screen. For example, if I were to watch a really shitty Kevin Spacey movie, I can't get off this dude, but Pay It Forward, which is very much about doing the right thing, and if you see a bum, give him a buck, and if someone has a flat tire, give them your car, and just like this cheesy ass, just do good fucking movie. And then I see Fight Club, and I'm like, oh, I want to do the thing and destroy something beautiful. It's like, I'm not that stupid. It's like I can enjoy it for what it is. And I know Ebert fucking hated Fight Club, and I know a lot of people were up in arms about it. And with Quentin Tarantino, his portrayal, and especially Scorsese, I mean, it's like it's a movie. It's an art form. It's a medium. Watch it. Why do you feel like you have to emulate it? Like try to see a little bit deeper. It's like when someone says the word fuck, and like someone's like, oh, you can't say that, but like, what's the meaning behind the use of that word? You know what I mean? Like, try to see something for a little bit more than face value. Yeah. So,
people are a little too eager to react rather than try to process and contextualize.
Absolutely, and I think that is happening more today than in any other time period, I think, ever. We have this new wave of hypersensitivity, especially with social media.
Yeah, certainly with that, it's brought it a lot to the forefront.
Right, and I'm not saying, like, I usually piss people off when I talk like this, but for me, it's not about saying that, we can't all be included, and everybody, nobody should be offended, and nobody should be hurt, nobody should be, chastised for their, sexual orientation or their political beliefs or, who they are as a person. But at the same time, I mean, you have to understand that the world isn't necessarily a safe place, and I mean, it's just like with how quick people are to freak out about the littlest thing. It's like that isn't really going to solve anything. It's just going to further the divide between the oppressors and the oppressed, I'd say. So it really irritates me when I hear people say, like, we should ban, Hateful Eight because, the woman gets slapped.
I don't think that's ever the answer.
Right. And
I don't know why I keep saying that. I thought we were well past the fact of that if you disagree with something, it should be banned. I thought we were way past that.
Like,
and I still see that all the time.
And it's nuts. And it just is absolutely crazy. So for me, it's just like, if you don't like something, ignore it. Unless it is actually like assaulting you and calling you a name. But it's not like Quentin Tarantino was on screen saying, "Hey, you sensitive, you're a bitch." Like, it's nothing like that at all. I mean, it's like it's an art form, and if you don't like it, ignore it and move past. But these calls to say movies are too violent, or this is too stylized, or Jennifer Jason Leigh, is that who's in Hateful Eight?
Jennifer Jason Leigh,
yeah. I mean, like she was hit, and this represents domestic violence, and Quentin Tarantino hates women. It's like whoa. Like, yeah, Quentin Tarantino's a douche, but I don't think that we need to burn his films and chase him out of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Definitely
not.
What gets
or make a march onto the Tonight Show and go, "I'm really sorry.
I'm so sorry. I hate Jennifer Jason Leigh." It's like it's a movie. It's art, and art is supposed to get a reaction out of people. But I mean, you should definitely be mature enough to not react like, shut it down, we're going to get rid of all this violence. Like, is that really going to make the world better? Is that going to solve all your problems? Like,
I definitely think the more repressive a society is, the more you exacerbate certain problems.
Absolutely.
And the more permissive you are, that at least gives you the opportunity to deal with problems because they're out in the open.
Absolutely. And you think that if you are banning these movies and things like that you're not going to have an effect, like all of a sudden where people are trying even harder to make more fucked up movies and release them underground, or like, for example, like, marijuana was legalized in Oregon, I think a couple of years ago, and, the big argument was like, there's going to be so many, people under the influence crashing and shit, and, everyone's going to become a drug dealer. No one's going to be at work, and like, it's just going to be nothing but rapists and murderers, and it's like, all it's done is like raise a bunch of money for the state, and like just like fast food sales have just skyrocketed, but like nothing bad happened, nothing bad came from it. So it's the same kind of thing when people are trying to censor movies and music and video games. It's just like all you're gonna do is push people who are creating content even harder to make even more raw content.
Yeah.
So it's just like if you don't like it, don't watch it. If you have kids, be a good fucking parent and make sure that they're not getting into things like they shouldn't. Like, my parents sucked. I watched 8mm before I could spell my name. Like, I mean, it's like, but I mean, I grew up, I mean, I don't want to say I'm perfect, but I mean, like, I haven't killed no one. So it's like, it's like, I understand a movie is a movie. And when my dad found out that I was watching these movies and, I remember I rented Conker's Bad Fur Day. My dad thought it was like a squirrel game where you just are a squirrel and you go get nuts.
That's
and
one that kids snuck past their parents.
Exactly,
they assumed it was a.
It looked cutesy on the surface.
And really, it's a drug using, alcohol addicted, horny ass squirrel who just fucks everything,
peeing on people.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's nuts. Like there's a sunflower with big tits, and you have to get a drunk bee to pollinate her, and it's nuts. Anyway, when my dad found out I was doing this stuff, rather than freak out and, ground me or take away my TV or my VCR or my Nintendo, he said, you have to understand that, these things that you see they're make-believe, they're fantasy, they aren't real, and you should definitely not, do what these guys do. Don't be like, Joaquin Phoenix and work in a sex store because I know I'd fail as a father. No, he didn't say that. But he's like, it is make-believe, it's not real, so, I mean, just make sure that, you don't act like this. You don't do these things. This is entertainment.
Yeah, it's important to be there to make sure they understand what they're seeing.
Right.
And
I mean,
the fucked up serial killers are almost never the people that listen to heavy metal and
absolutely because
watch Freddy Krueger movies.
Of course, and I think that those
seem so normal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like I think those are good outlets for people who are angry, people who are upset, people who maybe don't fit in certain cliques in normal society. So they listen to fucked up black Scandinavian butt metal, and they watch the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, which you have to be really fucked up to like those, but it's like it's
I like the second one.
The second one, what's the one with the pony?
That's the second one.
Oh yeah, that one fucking lost me. I was like, what is going on?
I
was so stoned in the theater when I watched that, and even as a high movie patron, I was like, this is fucking weird. Where's Mike Myers? What happened?
That's why I loved it.
It's his Halloween 3.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's definitely Season of the Witch.
That's why I loved it, yeah.
Did I ever tell you guys the story of one? Have you all seen Season of the Witch?
Yeah.
The third Halloween?
Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Do you remember that scene in the junkyard? I don't remember how old I was when that movie came out.
I think I know this story.
Yeah,
I think I know what you're about to say.
I can tell it for them.
Okay,
so like I said, I used to watch really fucked up horror movies as a kid, and I remember at Hollywood Video down the road from us, Halloween 3 had just come out. And I remember my dad's like, oh, if you're going to get Halloween, you should also get Phantasm. So we did a Grindhouse of Phantasm and Halloween 3, but my dad went to bed after Phantasm. So I watched Halloween 3 by myself. And there's a scene in a junkyard or something in that movie where this guy's getting yelled at or something, and the big scary guys in suits grab his head and smash his face in. And I remember that it was so graphic and sounded so intense, I actually threw up. I had such a strong reaction to it as a little kid. I puked on myself. And I started crying, and I made quite a bit of noise. My dad came out of his room and was like, "What is going on? Why are you covered in puke?" And I was like, "The movie." And that's when I'm pretty sure that's when my dad had the talk this stuff's not real, dude. You can't let it, fuck you up like that. And I puked all over myself. But I mean, and
I've never had that strong of a reaction.
Yeah, I was blown away. But I mean, but I loved it. After I had calmed down and all that, I'm like, that was metal. I gotta watch more of this.
Don't do that. Gene Simmons is trying to patent that.
What?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to get a suit. What a douche, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so anti-metal. That's not even
Yeah. It's just Gene Simmons.
He didn't invent that, did he? I mean,
I don't know who invented that.
I think so.
I'm gonna have to pay Gene Simmons a lot of money if you keep doing that. I think it's still in court though, so we can still do it for now.
Metal.
But if he wins, we'll have to pay him a lot of money just to do
I
that.
hope he
this
doesn't
video
win.
gets taken down for copyright infringement. Then you know why.
What are people saying? Are they telling us to shut the hell up?
I think there's a discussion about Zodiac happening.
Yeah, we're
Zodiac's a good one.
Zodiac's awesome. Another David Fincher movie.
Yeah,
that, is
probably my favorite Fincher movie.
I think I've talked about.
So
I think my favorite is Alien 3.
Yeah, it's the masterpiece.
Not at all.
Yeah. I think I've talked about Fincher that I kind of have some problems with Fincher. I think maybe just because I'm a little bit suspicious of a lot of new technology and digital techniques and stuff. I'm just more of an analog person. I'm more the kind of film goer that I really like things done physically. I like movies shot on film. I like physical effects and stuff done in camera on set. And Fincher is very much on the cutting edge side. You know, he's
Yeah.
very pro digital. He's very pro CGI. It's like this new technology has opened up new avenues for creativity, and I'm going to explore them. And I guess for me, as a cinema idealist, I have a little bit of a problem like that with him like using CGI to correct continuity errors and like
right.
do other stuff like that. There's a part of me that sort of like recoils from that, but at the same time, I also acknowledge that he's an extraordinarily talented visual storyteller.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm kind of on the fence because I'm very much for practical effects. I'm very much for, I love the grain of film. I love the way film looks. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm trying to be more open-minded and a little bit less, personally, I'm trying to be less snobbish. Not to say that you are. I'm just saying that you're a little bit of snob. But I mean, like, I'm just trying to, I don't want to be that person that's like everything's CG and everything's dark and everything's bad. Like, I'm just trying to, like, life's short. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. It's like, so I try to enjoy things more. Not to say I turn off my brain. I'm like, duh, Guardians of the Galaxy was the best movie ever. But it's just like, I'm just trying to find myself. It's like, I want to change with the times. I want to be there. And, you know, don't get me wrong. I do want to look back and be able to enjoy and love film. But at the same time, it's like, I also don't want to be a recluse. And I don't want to turn off my brain or have a negative preconceived notion of something that I could really love.
Yeah.
For example, you know, if David Fincher, you know, I just want to talk about Gone Girl for a second.
I haven't seen that.
I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm just using that as an example. I won't say anything about it, but you should fucking watch it.
Yeah.
I know it's a very dark movie color-wise. It's very dark, and you know, it's very modern looking, very clean cut, very perfect. And I know that's a weird word, but it's very, you know, it's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, and I heard about that a lot, like, you know, how clean cut it is, and like how perfectly dark paleted it is. And I was like, like that sounds kind of like you know, Nolan's Dark Knight, and you know, you know, that style that a lot of people are doing now. So I'm like, well, maybe if it's just going to be another cookie cutter, you know, dark film, like then you know, I'm not going to watch it. Like, I don't want to be that person. I'd rather be like, well, you know, I'll make
makes
my own
a lot
opinions.
of judgments based on little evidence. So, I tend to do that a lot too.
Absolutely. Like, since Ebert died, I don't read reviews. I used to get Ebert's opinion first, and then I found like I would emulate my opinion off that. Yeah. And it's like, and I can admit that now because I try to form my own opinions and I do my own research. But it's like if Ebert loved a movie, I would go into it and be super forgiving, like, I'm gonna love it too.
Yeah.
And if he hated a movie, I'd be like, oh, this is gonna fucking suck. You know, before the credits had even rolled. You know, the opening credits.
Right. He was sort of our guide for a long time.
And that wasn't a bad thing when I was young, but now that I'm older and now that I'm putting content out in the world, I don't want to have someone else's opinion shape mine. Yeah. So, you know, it's like, I don't want, you know, I don't look at Rotten Tomatoes. I don't follow movies on social media anymore. I don't want to know what anyone else has to say. I want to form my own opinions.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same place, and I find I've been moving in the same direction. That I used to go into movies with a lot of ideas about what I wanted them to be, and with a lot of judgments and preconceived notions. Right. And yeah, I found as I've gotten older, I kind of like, I want to be less snobbish.
Yeah.
I think you just have an easier time in life if you just allow yourself to enjoy stuff.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah,
I still have my preferences. I still have my tastes. I like certain movies more than others. But at the same time, you know, if people like comic book movies, you know, I'm not going to give anyone shit for that.
Yeah.
And if there's still a lot of stuff I refuse to watch. Like, I refuse to watch new Star Wars movies. I refuse to watch a lot of Marvel stuff. But that's my problem, and I'm trying to work past it. But
I find that my patience for those kind of movies is also being pressed to the max. Like, my Lord and Savior, not E.T. and Michael Jackson, but Kevin Smith. I love Kevin Smith. That dude is like my light in the fog. Like, I try to emulate that guy with all of my being, and it's like, he is like full retard for Marvel and sorry, I don't mean to offend anyone. Do the censor, but I mean, like, he is full on, like, on Marvel's dick. He loves everything Marvel, everything superhero, everything DC, and it's like, for me, it's like, oh, if Kevin Smith really loves it, like, you know, I had to have a conversation with him. It's like, wait, just because he really loves it doesn't necessarily mean that I will or I won't. It's like, I should form my own opinions, but my patience for those movies is kind of growing thin because they're coming out every quarter almost, like a new superhero movie is out. Like,
yeah, they get like I think they have schedules worked out up to like 2030 of the release pattern.
What? Like and that's
movies have become television.
Yeah, absolutely.
And television has become movies.
Yeah, because the TV is where it's at now.
Yeah,
if you want
the
something
stuff that is like the real, like that captures the popular imagination, that obsesses like the public, tends to be stuff like Game of Thrones now.
Yeah.
Or Breaking Bad. I
right.
mean, that's the stuff that seems to really capture
or House
the public.
Of Cards.
That captures the public consciousness.
That people are experiencing together.
Yeah. It's not like 2001: A Space Odyssey or Easy Rider. It's like, oh my God, have you seen Breaking Bad?
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of... We were just having this conversation. We've had this conversation a couple times about TV and film. I'm really trying to catch up with the times because I'm very much like...
I'm still behind.
Yeah, I've been watching like the bigger shows. I still haven't watched like, a lot of stuff that's very popular right now. But like I've been more open-minded to it lately, and it's been pretty rewarding. Like I've loved Black Mirror.
I saw like half of Black Mirror. That was a pretty damn good show. Yeah,
and every episode was so... I mean, they were basically like the sci-fi movies I wish we were getting in theaters, but they're not putting them in theaters, so they put them on Netflix. And they're all friggin' great sci-fi flicks on their own, individual. And that's what's really fulfilling, is that maybe it's not on this kind of sacred medium of the theater, or it's communal and we're all there together, and it's kind of like a shared experience.
Right.
I mean, now it's sort of this personal experience, this private experience, but we're all experiencing it together in a way because we congregate on the internet and talk about it. And it becomes an obsession online.
It's just kind of the experience is evolving into something different.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I'm trying to be open-minded to that change of experience. And I'm doing that with this new Twin Peaks, of watching the episode, experiencing it, talking about it amongst us, like, what did we just watch?
Yeah.
Then go online and see, like, grander, what do people say about it. That's kind of like what I feel like the experience is now, what the internet age has brought us, that I'm learning to enjoy more and participate more in, that's more fulfilling.
Unless you're like me and you live alone and have no friends and you have no one to talk to. No, that's a lie. I have lots of friends. Was
it? I think somebody asked me one time, I got a question on one of these. Somebody asked, if you could travel to... Which would you rather do? Would you rather travel to cinema past and experience the eras of film that have already happened? Or would you rather travel into the future and see where it's going?
Watch Fart the movie.
Yes.
9 Lives.
See Idiocracy come to fruition.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just a movie called Ass.
Yeah.
My response was, I think I would rather go to the past. Like, I'm not too interested in where the future is taking us. I kind of I'm obsessed with where we've been and like the previous eras, like the new Hollywood movement, the French New Wave movement, places like that, or the Surrealist movement of the 1920s. I'd kind of like to have hung out with a lot of those guys. I don't find myself too curious about where we're going. I think maybe I'm starting to get there and appreciate like the evolving of technology and the changing of how we consume art and how we interpret art. I'm starting to accept it a little bit more, but I am still very much somebody whose mind is in the past, and my nostalgia, my obsession, my romance is for eras that have gone by. I would love to travel into the past rather than the future.
I'm kind of the same way, because all of my obsessions lie in like the 60s and the 1960s and 1970s. And I've always said frequently, like, I'd give anything just to be there. Like,
as it's happening,
like, be there for Monterey Pop, you know, and like when Jimi Hendrix sets his guitar on fire, you know, like, I can't imagine being in the room when that happens and just witnessing, like, and knowing, like, people knew when they were watching it, like, this guy is freaking changing history with this. And it's,
a legend was born.
Yeah, and you're seeing history change around you, and people change around you, and it's... Man, that must have been an incredible time.
We might be in the middle of those times right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe I was too young when the digital revolution was starting to happen, but I think right now we're in the middle of the streaming revolution.
Oh, absolutely.
And things are changing very rapidly now. But it's like, when you're in the midst of it, it's such a whirlwind. You can't really step back to appreciate it so much. Like the past is a little bit. It's neater. It's all contained. It already happened.
And
this makes sense.
And it's in chronological order too. I mean, there are days, there are times, and here's what I would do because I've been wanting to really I wanted to be a filmmaker for a little while now. I would only want to go back in time so I could steal ideas. And be like, actually, I'm gonna make fucking Goodfellas.
Yeah.
And I
shot for shot.
Yeah, exactly. Basically that way I could set my empire. You know what I mean? It's like I could go back in time.
Get the sports almanac.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would totally be Biff, and I would fuck everything up. But it's like I don't know. Like I would take movies. I'm like, I like this movie, but I would change this, and I would change that. Like, that's what I would do. I'd go back, I'd find wherever Scorsese was living in the 80s, snuff him out real quick, take his notes and be like, I'm Marty. And then just, go ahead and, make my legacy.
Yeah.
Piggyback off his for a moment.
Maybe that's why Gus Van Sant made Psycho, in the hopes that one day he can go back in time and stop Alfred Hitchcock from making his Psycho.
Hit him over the head with a frying pan.
So that way his Psycho...
Get him in the shower.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Gus Van Sant has made the greatest horror film
of all time. And I wonder if every generation feels like this, where they're like, oh, I'd much rather go to the past than go to the future because
isn't that what Midnight in Paris is about? How everyone feels out of place in their own time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, whoa, is this the first time we're talking about a movie that all three of us have seen?
Yeah, I think so.
We've only seen two movies together, Fight Club and Midnight in Paris.
Yeah.
So,
but get to some more.
I wouldn't mind going to the future. I mean, it's just but not if it's going to be a Marvel, Disney, Star Wars future.
I honestly think the bubble is starting to burst on that.
Well, I mean, do you remember when Star Wars would come out and it was something special?
Yeah.
We've been waiting a decade for this. And yeah, of course it was the prequels. And I mean, and they're the prequels. But it's now it's literally okay, now we have 30-minute gap between the end of episode 6 and the beginning of episode I'm messing up my time. The end of episode 3, and the beginning of episode
4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sorry, 3, then 4, then 5. Yeah, and it's like let's shit out another little story for the 5 minutes before this movie starts. Because Rogue One literally takes place a day before A New Hope starts.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I was when I knew nothing about Rogue One. I refused to do any research, and I didn't see it until it was at the Dollar Theater across the street because I was so not wanting to see it. So when it first started, I
haven't seen episode 7.
But have you seen Rogue One?
I saw bits of it.
Okay.
But, Denny's watching all the Star Wars movies with our dad, and I've been kind of joining him a little bit for that. I didn't watch all of Rogue One, but I saw bits of it.
The very, very beginning, there's a little girl playing in a Russell Crowe gladiator field or something, and I was like, oh my god, that's little Leia. I'm like, this story's going to be about, Leia and Luke, growing up and, the birth of the rebellion and keeping them hidden from Vader. I'm like, Rogue One's going to be the shit. And then I found out, nope, it's a day before episode 4 starts. And it's
just about explosions.
Yeah, and it's like...
If it was Leia, they would have created a little CGI Carrie Fisher.
Probably. But it's like...
I thought it was worth it just to see Forrest Whitaker try and act. So he's
literally like his character from Battlefield Earth, but just he got hit over the head with a hammer.
I was
he got kicked in the head by a horse, and now he's just that's all he does.
I love Forrest Whitaker for the record. He's a great actor, but that movie, man, it's like they're trying.
That's literally Forrest Whitaker. I
didn't see any Forrest Whitaker scenes.
Yeah, because he's in 3 seconds of the movie, but every time he goes, he's like a frog, just with a cane, and hello, my brother. But he's
They tried to give him a characteristic that's unique. How with other Star Wars characters, they have identifiers. Chewbacca growls.
And Forrest Whitaker should have done the Chewbacca, the wolf.
He was bordering on that.
It was just so much better.
It was just him wheezing out dialogue, and then he has this scene where he spoilers for Rogue One. Do you mind if I?
It's not my channel. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if everyone's seen it.
Well, he has this big scene where I won't say what happens, but he has this big scene where he has sort of this thing where it's you're supposed to be invested in his character, and he does something that you're like, oh wow, he's a brave guy. But when he did it, I was just laughing.
It was so anticlimactic, and it's literally like the way they pattern his character is almost like the big fat guy from the new Mad Max with the
and Morton Joe.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't know. He has like this. Yeah, he was definitely really weak
disposable.
sauce.
Like
but
every character in that movie was disposable.
Here's my qualm with Star Wars, and I feel like a dick for saying this, but like the prequels, everybody was like, "Wow, like we want more of what the original 3 were like." And now with these new ones that are coming out, it's like, "Wow, we want something different." But when they went with something different, we got the prequels. But now they're literally just like, "Here's your nostalgia bone," and now they're just killing you. You're like, what's different? There's nothing new. There's nothing unique. There's no new twist. Even the characters feel kind of, it's like, what's his face inside Ewan Davis, that actor, The Most Violent Year. What's his name? Marco Rubio,
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah. Like he's just the new Luke, or like the Luke when he's a rogue pilot, and then Timothy Dalton. No, that's not his name. Her name. That she has like a flower. Daisy Ridley. Yeah. It's just like the pretty much a Luke and Leia combined. Like they're just kind of like rehashing things. It's like just give me like you have all this. You have all the money in the world. You have J.J. Abrams. You have you have Disney behind you. Give us something that's groundbreaking. Give like it's okay to play it safe, but don't just give us the same thing because Force Awakens. I know, and it's like everyone's gonna see it. Everyone's gonna see it. Star Wars puts ass in seats, and Disney has all the money to make it everything it can be. Take a risk, take a gamble, give us something.
That's what Lucas did.
That's what they're right.
Yeah, I mean, but
Lucas took a risk.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And, that's people saw his movies. Like, even though people watched Episode 1 and like hated it, people still want to see Episode 2 because it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it's like you really have reign to do anything you want as long as you put Star Wars on the title, and it'll make money.
But
so it's like I agree with you. Why not take a risk? Why not?
But I mean, the industry is set up to try and eliminate risk,
and that's what I like I said, I don't have preconceived notions about movies, but it's like that's what's killing me is that it has nothing to do with art anymore.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with being creative. It's all about the dollar.
Yeah. I mean, you see directors that try to deviate too far from the committee decisions, they get canned.
Yes,
and someone else gets brought in.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think I talked about this last week. I do dislike the industry, the film, at least the American film industry, and you see it moving in this much more franchise-oriented direction, or this direction that's just trying to hawk merchandise or whatever it is. But I believe very much that within that infrastructure, there are genuine artists. There are people that genuinely got into it because they were passionate and they wanted to tell stories.
The first name that comes to mind?
They wanted to make great movies. What?
And I know that you're probably going to get a chub at this, but I can never say his last name, but Denis Villeneuve?
Denis Villeneuve, yes. Yeah, he is one of my favorites right now.
It's just get
him to do a fucking Star Wars movie.
No,
he's doing Blade Runner.
Yeah, he's doing Blade Runner.
And I actually have hope for that because they have a director with a vision and a personality behind it.
And I mean, I mean, honestly, out of all of his movies I've seen, I'd probably say that Arrivals was his weakest, but I still think that the message behind it and the unconventional, especially the unconventional. Have you guys all seen it?
Yeah, I've seen
it. With the way it ends and everything, I thought it was a really fantastic, unique movie, but I just felt I just wasn't quite completely swept away. And that's for my own prejudice. I'm just not an Amy Adams fan.
I loved Arrival. Yeah. I thought it was one of the best sci-fi movies I've ever seen.
I mean,
it's a huge fan.
And I dubbed it Arrivals, Amy Adams versus Predator, but that's not the way it was after I watched it. But I really did. I thought it was fantastic, and I loved it, and I loved the crab dudes. And,
I'm a sucker for visionary, idea-driven sci-fi, and that was as good as I've ever seen that done.
My introduction to Arrivals, because I saw a meme where Amy Adams holding up a board and it says something like I can't
There's
remember.
A lot of those. Whatever was on the whiteboard.
Right. I mean, it's just like it sounds like I wonder if this will be good, but because it was Denis Villeneuve. Okay, that's way
French
easier.
Canadian. Yeah,
Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
And it's just, I don't know. I mean, the thing that captivates my imagination still, the movie, I think about this movie at least once or twice a week is Enemies.
Enemy, yeah.
I think, like I said,
one of my favorite movies.
I think about, I'll be making like like breakfast, and I'll be like, I should watch Enemies. Like, you know, I'll think about like what things mean. Like, that movie still sticks with me, and I saw it like 3 or 4 months ago, and I still think about it really regularly. And I don't own it, which is a real tragedy. But
it's one that sticks with you. It's constantly making you question and think and trace back.
Right.
I've only seen it once, but I feel like
one of the best endings in film history.
Yeah, that ending is so abrupt and shocking.
Yeah.
That movie is lovely. Hey Denny, kind of pulling a Richard Nixon. You wanna dab off? It looks like he's melting, like it's a wax figure over here.
Man, it's heating up.
Yeah, it's getting really hot here. But what are people saying? Are they telling us to shut up now?
Enemy, yeah.
Enemy was actually what got me into film. So
wow.
Good for you, Jack, because that movie inspired me as a writer. You know, it kind of rekindled my fire a little bit. Where I'm like, everything's trash, everything sucks, nothing's unique and original. And then Henry over here is like, hey, idiot, you want to watch Enemies? And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I'm like, did Jake Gyllenhaal fight himself? And he's like, kind of, or something. And I'm like, okay, let's watch it. And
in the hands of any other director, there would have been a Gyllenhaal on Gyllenhaal fight scene.
It would have been Face Off, but rather than Travolta and Cage, it just would have been Gyllenhaal and Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Face Off. Yeah, let's talk about Face Off.
It made me think of
actually a good movie.
Yeah,
Face Off is fun.
Who directed Face Off?
John Woo.
John Woo. Oh yeah.
I like John
talking
Woo.
about the literal fight between the two Jake Gyllenhaals. It made me think of a movie we watched recently, The Beaver.
And
that was interesting.
And just how like it comes to that same climax where they literally have Mel Gibson fight himself, but fight the beaver.
And you know, and everybody here seems like they've talked about the ending to Fight Club. Fight Club ends in the very, very same way. You know what I mean? He fights himself. I mean,
but that was really cleverly done. Where you just see him fighting himself, and it's only like. You see Brad Pitt, but then you see like a reflection in a rearview mirror. You see a security camera footage, and it's just him like hitting himself.
Oh yeah, and it's like,
really well done, really visually clever.
And I like the writing behind it because there's a scene in Fight Club to where it's when he first ever gets hit by Brad Pitt, and then like something else happens, and like he's in his boss's office. He's beating the shit out of himself to get fired, and like just as he's about to hit himself in the face, he goes, "This thing makes me think of when I first met Tyler." And it's like when they first meet, they fight, and like but really he's hitting himself, and then but you don't know that as an audience member yet. Yeah. So like, but when they're in that office, and he goes, somehow, like for some reason, I imagine my first fight with Tyler, and then he starts beating the shit out of himself, and then in the end you realize, oh, that's why he thought of his first fight with Tyler because he beat the shit out of himself back then. He did it in the office, and now he's doing it now. You know, so I mean, I don't know
details you pick up on.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen that movie. Probably 20 or 30, honestly, over 20 times, I'd say I've seen Fight Club. And because, like I said, that was the first movie that I was like, I wonder if I can do this. If movies can be this weird, remember, I was maybe 11 or 12 the first time I saw Fight Club. I was like, if movies can be this weird, I bet I could do them too. You know what I mean? And that's, but then like, after, a couple years after that, I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to make movies. I just want to be in them. But now I'm kind of reverting back to where it's like, if I could be in them, great, but I think I'd rather make them. I'd rather try to tell stories and, kind of be like a breath of fresh air, and hopefully inspire other filmmakers. Because if any one of us can make a movie, then literally anyone else on the planet can. So just that, and that's what I'm really trying to go for now. It's kind of like, inspire others, try to tell like a small yet original story, and see where I can take it. So.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we should probably get onto the subject of the video.
Oh yeah.
So now the show is going to officially start.
Yeah, that's okay. We had a good warm up.
And this is probably mainly going to be you guys because I'm I don't really watch a lot of animation.
Yeah, so. You can throw in whatever you want. But yeah, I watched a lot of animated stuff this week that I kind of wanted to talk about. But I think first I want to talk about Leica Studios because
we're in the Leica home right now.
In Portland, Leica Studios actually is based in Portland, Oregon. But yeah, I don't know why, but I was kind of like on an animation kick this week. I watched Coraline, which I had seen before, but I hadn't watched in years and years and years. I rewatched it this week, and holy shit, that movie is a masterpiece.
Yeah,
Coraline is incredible.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, I had forgotten how good it was. I remembered really loving it back in the day when I watched it, but it had been so long, I remembered so little. I watched it again. It was that was even better than I remembered. That is such a good movie. I think it's like the perfect modern-day fairy tale. And I think talking about why I think it's so good, I'm going to have to wait until I mention the next movie. But I watched Coraline like twice in a row, and then I was like, I wanted to watch more Leica
Literally,
Studios.
like it stopped, and then you started it again?
I think the next day I watched it a second time because I loved it so much. And then I wanted to watch their newest movie, Kubo and the Two Strings. But Leica Studios, I just want to say, like, they're like the Pixar of stop-motion animation. They're like
one of the only ones still doing it.
Yeah, they're like one of the only like big studios keeping that art form alive and really doing innovative new things with it, like trying to expand the scope of stop motion, combine it with digital effects. But their work is always stellar. They make the most beautiful, incredible movies. And when I started Coraline again, I've gotten so used to like the CGI animation, that kind of stuff. And I'm not trying to shit on CGI animation. That's its own art form as well. It has its own strengths.
Oh, yeah.
But watching a stop-motion animated movie again and seeing like a real physical thing on screen in front of you coming to life like that, there was something so striking about that, and it really hit me. And I was like, I'm seeing a real doll being manipulated and turned into a character here. Mm-hmm. Like there's just something about it. You see like real textures on screen of real things. It's not a simulated texture, it's a real texture. It's a real thing in a real physical space. And there's just something that's really present about that, something really tangible about that, that really strikes me in a way that no other animated films do. I love all forms of animation. I love hand-drawn animation, I love computer animation, and I love stop-motion animation, but the real strength about stop-motion, I think, is just that sense of a real tangible reality in front of you because of it being a real physical space with physical characters being manipulated. So I loved Coraline, and then Denny and I, we watched Kubo and the Two Strings, which is their newest movie, and I think we kind of had differing opinions on this. But
I liked it a little bit more than you did, I think.
Yeah, I did like it, but Kubo and the Two Strings, for anyone who hasn't seen it, this is like, it's inspired by Japanese folklore, and there's a very strong like Japanese cinematic and cultural influence on it. But it's basically about a boy with one eye who has magical powers. He plays, I don't know what the instrument is called, it's like a two-string guitar, and he can bring origami to life. And yeah, he ends up teaming up with a monkey and a beetle man to try, and what's he trying to do? Find his father.
Basically they need to find the armor that his father wore that gave him his power, because there's like an evil entity after him.
Yeah, there's an evil spirit after him that wants to steal his other eye.
Yeah.
So a good story, a really interesting, unusual story.
Yeah.
But in execution, I had a few problems with it, and this came mostly coming right off of Coraline and how much I loved that movie. But you want to say, like,
just general
because I know you really liked it.
Yeah, I really liked pretty much everything about it. I got immediately invested in that world, and Leica's always really good at that, of just sort of getting you into the atmosphere of things very quickly, and establishing a tone, a mood, and with Kubo, it's a very fun movie. It's very like lighthearted.
Yeah, I mean it's very entertaining, yeah.
And so within like the first like 15-20 minutes, it was a really good blend of some kind of like light adventure, but also kind of some more dramatic themes that kind of go for a little bit more emotion. It's family is a big theme in the film, as well as remembering the past and
loss, death.
Yeah, exactly. And so it kind of, I wouldn't say it gets heavy necessarily, but I thought it handled.
It does go after some more mature themes than your typical kids film.
Absolutely, which made it feel like it was going for a lot more than a typical movie of this nature would. That it was actually trying to have some resonance and actually leave you with some feelings by the end of it, instead of just disposable, good movie, walk out of the theater. Yeah. And it actually ends very boldly in that sense, that it doesn't restore things to like Disney canon by the end. It's sort of, things happen in the movie, and it's sort of, nothing is really repaired. It's sort of about the characters like moving on. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I thought was really great, was that Not many animated movies are about sort of like those real life lessons where you have to take what's given to you and move on. Not just like everything you wanted, you got back, and you're happy in the end.
It's like order is upset and then restored by the end. That's the typical formula.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty traditional like narrative formula with the movie, but its resolution I thought was very atypical and very satisfying for me. And just for the rest of the movie, I thought it was a great adventure. Like I loved the scenery. I loved the battles that were staged and the use of origami and how basically his powers, how he could use those to overcome these really impossible feats in really creative ways that isn't just hack and slash a big monster. It was very refreshing for me to see. It felt like I was seeing something really new and unique.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of people giving you guys their recommendations for animated movies. And somebody said, Young Peter Roll, visuals in Kubo are breathtaking.
Yeah, that was definitely the strength for me of the movie, is it does look incredible. There are a lot of set pieces that are just amazing visually. The fight with the giant skeleton was great. My favorite was the battle in the middle of the lake, I think it is, where they're on the boat made of leaves, and there's that underwater sea creature with all the eyes. And they're fighting the sisters with the masks.
Yeah, that was so much happening at once.
That was an amazing scene. Yeah, incredibly well realized visually, just dazzling to look at. And I do want to say that, And I do want to say that it is a really good movie. I really enjoyed it, and it's easy for me to enjoy animation because I know so little about how it's done. I've talked about this before, but I know a lot about how live action is done, and I find when I watch live action stuff, it's really hard for me to just get invested in a story because I'm analyzing so much about what the camera is doing and the cinematography and the acting and the editing and all of that. Animation, I'm totally naive. I'm a complete innocent on it. I really don't know anything about how it's done. So I can turn off that part of my brain and just sort of go back to that childlike mindset where I'm just sitting and I'm enjoying a story and I can get invested in it.
It kind of breaks my heart a little bit to hear you say that because that's kind of one of my fears of kind of that's one thing I've trained myself to do now is really kind of turn off my critic. And it's like for the first time just try to maybe get captivated in a story. So yeah,
Ever since I went to film school, it kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah, it kind of breaks my heart to hear that you have a hard time kind of not seeing it through that scope.
I can sometimes, but it has to be a really good movie. It's rare that it happens. It has to be something like Arrival or Enemy, where I'm just like, wow, I get so into it. But it's rare to come across movies like that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I find having that critical part of my mind turned on, though, kind of helps me engage a little bit more with movies, because I'll start out just analyzing technique and stuff, and most of the time, eventually, I'll kind of find my way into the story.
Right,
but it takes some time.
For me, that's how I am about dialogue. Like when I write scripts, I am very much dialogue. I mean, it's a script. I'm very much dialogue, orientated. That's my strong point. So I find my screen direction and my notes are pretty crappy. But my dialogue, I mean, that's it for me. That's what I feel like. That's how I'm going to make it as a writer. Will be dialogue. Not saying that I'm great, but I'm saying that's my strong point. That's what I'm going to practice. That's how I'm going to get it. So it's like I have a hard time sometimes. Like if dialogue is pretty poor in a movie, it's like I'm just like this is dog shit. Like this is just babble. This is nothing. So it's like when I find that movie,
my thing that I hate is exposition. When all the dialogue is just like, so yeah, your father died, and now. You're in this situation, and now you got to go do this.
When the dialogue,
all exposition.
I don't when I write. I'm very much cognitive of the fact that I do not want my dialogue to feel like it has to progress the plot for me. Oh man, it sucks. Your car broke down. I guess we're gonna have to steal another one. My shitty plot structure won't be because of shitty dialogue. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be because I'm not a good filmmaker. But I very much too. I'm very much against exposition because I think that bad, poor dialogue and then dialogue that's used as the main way to progress the plot and digress the plot and explain it to your audience like they're 5-year-olds. I don't like that. I'm very much not into that.
To simplify it a lot so that it can be easily translated for the international market.
Oh God!
There's
I'm not even
yeah.
cognizant. I don't even think like that. Like
Yeah.
international market for my
Because
shitty
now, like,
screenplay.
if you do a
Like,
Transformers movie or something like that, you got to think, well, this also has to play in China because that's a huge market.
yeah,
So we
yeah.
got to make sure none of the dialogue is too complicated or esoteric, so that it can be very easily translated.
I wonder what Optimus Prime sounds like in Mandarin. Like,
I don't know.
With
I've never seen a Transformers movie, so I couldn't tell you.
Your eyes will thank you. Like it's, I've seen the first. I saw the first two. And the first one I thought was. I mean, I'm really getting you guys off animation. I'm sorry.
It's basically an animated movie.
Essentially. Transformers.
Oh yeah.
I was where was I? I was at Fred Meyer today because I knew these boys were coming. I decided to get them some nice cold water bottles.
Mhm.
I was at Fred Meyer today. I walked past the electronics department. And I saw this TV that was playing some channel, and there's a trailer for the new Transformers playing.
Mm-hmm.
And like one of the little quotes, you know, they throw quotes on top of trailers.
Yeah.
Like, #1 movie in America. One of the quotes was, "Find the biggest screen you can." I'm just like with my cart, no. I'm just like, is that like, does that really say anything about how good a movie is? Like, find the biggest screen you can.
Well,
like,
it's selling the spectacle of it.
right? But it's
Yeah.
like, is there really any spectacle left in Transformers? Like,
It's the same thing over
it's just
and
the
over.
same.
You get
It's
to
just
see your
more-
toys brought to life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because like
80s
the new
nostalgia.
Godzilla movie, I was so let down by, and it's like,
Uh,
well, like Godzilla was like I don't even think it was the first person like cast. You know what I mean? Like they just kind of built everything and then added Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like it was like,
It became a Godzilla movie when they finished shooting, and they're like,
yeah,
let's
they're
just
like,
CGI.
let's
in.
just put a lizard man in here. And it's like, okay, but like that was a huge letdown for me. But you know, I don't like
Yeah.
monster movies are a tough sell for me. Like Pacific Rim is a monster movie to me done right.
Yeah,
You know, it's fun, it's stupid, it's violent, and it's it's just
and
like
it's sincere too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what I hate now, like you're talking about writing pet peeves. My writing pet peeve is when you have bad writing in a screenplay, but instead of like improving it and redrafting it, you just have a character in the movie pointing out that it's bad writing. Go,
yeah.
Really, we have to fight the Kraken monster? Really? Okay, come on. That's so typical.
Are you doing your best Jeremy Renner right now? Like, that's how he delivers all of his dialogue.
Yeah.
Really? We have to fight Iron Man? Really?
Yeah, like
that's like our Tom Cruise impression.
Yeah. Really? A mummy? Really? Like,
yeah, and that's how they make movies now. They just have bad writing, and they have a character, an ironic character in it, who points out that it's bad writing, and they just sell it as a comedy or like a comedic scene.
Yeah.
Oh, I
And
might have
it's-
offended somebody with my Transformers talk. Maybe they're not talking about me what it's called. I'm potentially interested. The latest Transformers movie is bombed in the States. It does poorly overseas. We may not get any more.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thank God.
Yeah.
Save the money. Give it to somebody who can use it.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. The bubble might be beginning to burst if the new Transformers is not doing as well as people
It's
expected.
funny, though, because at the end of the day, Hollywood still gets to laugh because they have made so much money. I mean, yeah, even though Transformers, like, who said that, Movies for Life, like, Transformers may have bombed, they've still made hand over fist on the other 7 installations of that movie, and all the
Yeah.
merchandise they've sold,
Uh-huh.
and then the Transformers Dairy Queen
I
Blizzard
mean, that's
Cup.
why
and
you
then-
make Transformers, is
Yeah.
to sell toys.
Yeah.
That's where the real money's coming
Right.
from.
Well, who was a Star Wars cast member who's like, just don't pay me, just give me like some box office and the toys? Who was that?
Well,
Oh,
Lucas himself did that.
Is that what he did?
Well, Lucas, when they wanted to merchandise Star Wars, he was like, okay, but I want like 50% of all profits.
Right.
And yeah.
Star Wars invented movie merchandise.
Oh,
Yeah.
there was
for
like
sure.
nothing before Star Wars. Maybe some Planet of the Apes stuff and some Jaws stuff.
Was there
But-
some like I know that some cartoons had some merch? I think in that. in that
Yeah, I think
time.
so,
Like,
but in
He-Man.
movies- it
Planet
really-
of the Apes actually was the first big franchise that had a toy line.
Yeah.
Doesn't that
Um,
seem like the least likely?
Well,
like,
before
not
Star
Ape
Wars,
Man.
what did you have?
Yeah,
like, it
true
was
that.
Planet of the
It
Apes.
just wasn't something that studios even considered before
right.
Star
Did
Wars.
Kenner do the Planet of the Apes toys like they did the Star Wars toys?
Might have been.
Kenner,
I don't
yeah, I mean
know.
they were the heavy hitters. I remember.
Yeah,
And those were a surprise success too. No one was expecting the Star Wars toys to sell well, and then they
right.
sold out before anyone even knew what was happening, and then
Right.
suddenly it became part of the industry.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, Star Wars changed everything.
I mean, you look
It
at
really
some
did.
movies; they just put stuff in there just so that they can have another toy.
Oh yeah,
Like, yeah, oh yeah, totally.
I read a book not too long ago called The Greatest Sci-Fi Movies Never Made, and there's a chapter on Superman Lives, which it seems like there's a lot of stuff on that now.
Right.
There's like a documentary about it now. But the chapter on Superman Lives I thought was really funny because when Tim Burton got hired to do it, this is when Tim Burton was the director, Nicolas Cage was going to play Superman.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
And they were working on the screenplay, and I guess part of the reason, allegedly, Tim Burton I don't think ever gave any interviews on it, but allegedly people who were close to the production were saying part of the reason Tim Burton left and the production fell apart was because when he was writing the screenplay, he was being visited constantly by the producer who was telling him, okay, I just had a meeting with the toy company. They want Superman to have a space station. So you need to have a scene where he goes to a space station, and then they start to write in a space station, and then he'd leave and he'd come back and say, okay, they want him to have like a little spacecraft that goes to the station, and they want to have like a costume that he wears in the craft.
Wait,
when he
Superman needs a space
right,
suit?
exactly. It makes no sense, but
Right.
they wanted more toys,
Right.
and plus you can charge more for a giant space station toy.
If
Right.
you want,
They just wanted to sell more toys with
Yeah.
all the stuff that was in it.
if you want the most transparent version of that, watch Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
That movie was
Oh,
made to sell
God.
toys, and like
Ice
having-
Skate Batman.
yeah, and when they changed into silver suits at the end for absolutely no reason, just so they could sell silver suit Batman.
I bought
It's
one
actually-
too. I definitely had
Yeah.
those toys.
If you end up buying that Batman Anthology Blu-ray, watch the special features on Batman and Robin because it's probably the most informative because the cast and the director are very open about what happened with that movie. And they basically, Chris O'Donnell especially is like, I felt like I was a toy making this movie.
Wow.
Like I felt like I was a piece of plastic that was being manipulated to sell shit. And it was like, holy shit, he's being like pretty open
Yeah.
about his experience. on
Batman
this
and Robin was the last movie I saw in a drive-in movie theater.
whoa, I've never
Yeah.
even been to it.
Really?
Yeah.
In Atlanta. I'm sorry. This was this in Atlanta or was this in Miami? I can't remember, but I'm from the South, folks. Anyway, yeah, they were really big down south. And my dad, we used to have this giant Cadillac, and like the front of the Cadillac like could literally see like 4 people. It was massive. It's like
Oh.
sofa style seating.
Yeah.
Like there's no like middle console or whatever. It's
just
in
those
the
bench
dash.
seats.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember I was sitting in between my mom and my dad, and yeah, we were watching Batman and Robin on a
Wow.
drive-through, and I remember like Cadillac had a really cool sound system. So I mean, like it had like a subwoofer and all that. So I remember I was like, "This is the best thing ever!" Because like like the car would rumble whenever there'd be like an explosion or something,
Yeah.
or like whenever like Bane would open his mouth and be like, "Monkey business!" Like I was just like, "Yes!" Like yeah, that was the last movie I saw in a
Wow.
drive-in movie theater.
Wow.
It sounds like it would have been fun.
It was
it's
fun.
a
It
movie
was-
for kids. So
And
yeah,
I was a
yeah,
kid,
yeah.
because now I have a really hard time getting through that movie alone. If I'm with people, we can kind of riff it, but
Yeah.
it's a hard watch.
Yeah. Joel Schumacher apologizes on the audio commentary.
Is Joel Schumacher? He's still alive, yeah.
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 Is he still working?
He did
He
a
hasn't made a
Nicolas
movie
Cage
in a
movie.
while.
His last movie was a Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah,
so-
it was 2011. He hasn't directed in a while.
Yeah.
Who
Um,
was it? Who? It was Ridley Scott. Tony Scott.
Yeah,
Tony Scott.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Not today, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
what are people
Um,
saying?
No, I think we're falling way behind on the chat because we're
Yeah,
just like
like, we're
having
just totally-
conversations amongst
Well,
ourselves.
and we're all kind of catching
Sorry.
up. It's the first time any of us have kind of hung out in quite
Yeah.
A little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry, you guys are kind
Yeah.
of doing your own show over here, and we're like totally not talking to you at all.
But I want to get back on Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry,
yeah,
jeez.
yeah,
Yeah,
that-
that's
The thumbnail, that's right.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say about it is that my reaction, it wasn't as positive, certainly, as Coraline. And I love Leica Studio stuff. Someone else mentioned Paranorman. I really like that one, too.
Yeah.
And it seems like all of Leica Studio stuff is really underrated. Like, they've sort of become well known for making these amazing stop-motion animated movies that almost nobody goes to see. It's really sad.
Yeah.
I wish they had, like, a wider audience.
I think they did Kubo to try and get
Yes,
more people to
I was
see
going
it.
to say that. I think Kubo and the Two Strings is sort of a reaction to that. I think it is their conscious attempt to try and expand their audience a little bit because this movie, and I want to say it's a really fun movie. I mean, the animation, especially stop-motion animation in a movie that looks this good, is this well done.
Visually rich.
Yeah, gonna be enchanting. So I was absolutely, I had a fun time with it. I was dazzled by the visuals, but I was also really conscious of the tone it was hitting and the formula it was following. It felt to me like Laika was trying to do less of their quirkier, kind of darker, more gothic stuff. Like Paranorman has kind of a morbid sense of humor. Coraline certainly has a morbid streak in it and an edginess to it that is very unusual for a kid's film. Like that movie, for an animated movie, it does get very dark and it does get very scary. And I've heard some kids were really terrified by Coraline. Kubo, it seems like they really tried to pull away from that. They wanted to make something a lot lighter, a lot cuter, and a lot closer to the Disney formula. This, of all the Laika stuff that I've seen, feels the closest to being a Disney movie.
Yeah,
and
I'd agree with that. Yeah,
and I honestly was kind of disappointed by that, especially watching Coraline twice in a row and thinking like, this is such an original film. This is such a perfect little fairy tale. I just thought everything about Coraline was just beautiful and flawless and captivating. I loved every frame of it. And Kubo I liked, I enjoyed, but it kind of felt like, this kind of feels like something that could have almost been done by Disney or by Pixar. So it was a good movie, but I think for me, as a fan of the more unusual tendencies of Laika Studios, it was sort of a disappointment that it seemed their least characteristic film.
Yeah, that they, in an effort to broaden their appeal, they've weakened their uniqueness, and their stamp.
Oh my God! Kubo lost $60 million thanks to lack of advertising. That's criminal.
That's shit.
I mean, even this movie is worth seeing.
Yeah, I remember there was a big campaign on Reddit of basically just people going like, "This movie is really good. Support it because these guys are this team of animators is incredibly unique and works so hard on this, and it's a quality movie."
But something like Sausage Party will make $300 million.
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, and it's I was glad to see people were kind of taking the advertising in their own hands of like, "Hey, everyone, see this movie. It's really great."
I just want to thank Movies for Life for answering all the questions we're not.
Yeah, I guess Kubo does have some computer assistance. Yeah, it uses CGI and green screen to compose different animations into one shot.
And they've always used,
nearly all individual assets are stop motion. Yeah,
and they've always used CG to erase the lines on the puppets' faces because the way the puppets are, it's basically like broken down into 3 sections of a mouth.
Oh yeah,
and the eyes,
and somebody mentioned Anomalisa, which is another great stop motion.
Kaufman, right?
Charlie Kaufman. It's another great stop motion animated film. If you watch that, you can sort of see how it's done because they don't erase any of the lines in the puppets.
Laika does the same thing except they erase the lines. It's the same process.
What movie?
And Anomalisa.
No.
Laika, the studio.
Laika.
They use the same process, but they erase the lines.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, they make it a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
So I also, I guess this is just more elaborating on how I reacted to Kubo and the 2 strings, but it gave me more of an appreciation for Coraline and how different that was and how unusual it was and how it really breaks the mold for children's films and animated films. But like in Kubo, you can see it kind of does everything the Disney way. All the characters are cute, all the characters are sympathetic, everyone's got a sense of humor. There's a lot of sarcasm and irony and self-awareness. It felt like kind of a Disney formula kind of thing, which was disappointing for me because Coraline is pretty much all original. I haven't really read the book, so I don't know how much is carried over. I think I saw, somebody saying, young Peter Roll, I love the extra things they added to Coraline not in the book. So I guess, the movie does adapt a lot that is not in the book, that is original to writer-director Henry Selick, who is the great genius of stop-motion animation. He also did
James and
the Giant Peach and Nightmare Before Christmas. Not Tim Burton. It was directed
Everybody thinks that he made that.
It was directed by Henry Selick, although Tim Burton did do Corpse Bride,
which is very good.
And Frankenweenie, which are also kind of fun movies, too.
Yeah, I really like Corpse Bride.
But, the other thing about Coraline is the characters. I really loved that all of the humor in Coraline came out of the personalities of the characters, their specific quirks and eccentricities. There was no irony. There was nobody just kind of like pointing something out to another character, and the joke is just self-awareness or irony. Yeah. It's like the jokes come from the characters and their personalities.
Yeah.
And also, I really love that Coraline wasn't like the typical cute little girl at the center of a movie. She's kind of a brat, you know. She's got shit that's going on in her life, and she's pissed off about a lot of her. Just she's pissed off about her situation. She's pissed off at her parents, and she's angry most of the movie and acting out a lot, and is not like your typical cutesy, likable little animated girl. She's kind of got her own problems, her own psychology. She's a real character that evolves over the course of the movie. And I love that it's defying all of those conventions and really trying to be its own thing. Kubo was very much more, I think, of a typical animated film formula, but still done by people who are damn good at what they do and brilliant artists, and that can still make a pretty fun, entertaining, visually enchanting movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even if it's not characteristic of Leica's best works, it's still, among other animated movies, probably one of the best ones that's come out in a while.
It's like Pixar stuff. You have to adjust for a Pixar scale, because even a subpar Pixar movie is still better than most of the other animated movies out there.
Yeah, exactly. And I, kind of going off of that, Leica right over to Finding Dory.
Yes, that was the other one I wanted to post. I watched, I think you guys have seen it, right?
I saw it in theaters.
Okay, yeah. You two saw it in theaters.
Not together.
Yeah, separately.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's a big deal. We don't go to the movies.
No, we never go. The last movie we saw together in the theaters was Lovely Bones, and we're never going to go
Whoa.
again.
So like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I think we saw something after
Is it
that.
really that long?
No.
Okay.
We just,
that was a weird one we watched together.
Yeah, Lovely Bones and Wolfman are like the highlights of our... Yeah.
Didn't you guys see, what was that, like, young adult movie? The Mighty Four? The Fourth Kind?
No, I saw that by myself.
Oh, I Am Number Four. I Am Number Four.
I never
did
saw
that for my
shit.
school newspaper.
I thought that was one you guys saw together.
No, I didn't see that shit.
Lovely Bones was one that I was going to review for the paper that I asked you to come to. I'm glad I asked you to come because there was those guys behind us talking, and about 15 minutes in the movie, you had to turn around and go, "Will you shut the fuck up?" And those exact words. And they didn't talk after he did that.
Well,
so.
you know, it just, I don't know. It just, nobody intimidates me. So it's just, if you're going to be a douche, I'm going to call you out.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes. And
I'm
there were just like some
seeing...
frat boys from like the local college that were just, this isn't Harry Potter. Shut the fuck up.
Bye, Maddie. Maddie Stevenson Bishop. Have a good one.
Bye, thanks for
joining
joining
Are
us.
people saying goodbye to us?
No, I think just one guy's leaving.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry to interrupt you, though.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, but yeah, I love going to movies with you because I'm typically kind of timid when it comes to like shushing people, but you just, well, hey, shut the fuck up! That tends to be the bomb that silences everyone.
Yeah, because like even people who weren't talking were like, I'm not saying anything ever again. Like, just
I'm one of those people too that's just gonna sit there and put up with it and just fume in my seat.
No, it's like, I paid $15 to watch the fucking Lovely Bones. I didn't pay to hear your shitty commentary. You know, so it's just like,
I remember I got so mad when I saw Slumdog Millionaire in theaters, and you were there too. We got seated right in front of this group of young people that just had a running commentary on the movie the whole time.
I think I remember that.
And you like got up and left, and I just stayed sitting in where I was.
I've only walked out of a few movies in my life, but like my main problem is like, you know, I don't want to get. We need to go back to Dory. Let's talk about Dory.
You didn't walk out of Finding Dory.
No, and I wish I did. Because
I just watched Finding Dory for the first time, I think yesterday, on Netflix. It's streaming on Netflix. So now I've seen it, and I kind of want to talk about it. Because I don't think I've ever really talked about Pixar before. I might have. I can't remember anymore.
What was your first impression?
First impression? I'd heard from you guys that it was kind of so-so.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really have much of an interest to watch it. And I just decided, because I was watching Leica stuff, I watched Coraline, loved that. Watched Kubo, even with my criticisms, still really enjoyed that. And it's kind of like, you know, I haven't seen Finding Dory, and I'm kind of on an animation fix right now, so I just put it on. And I was very surprised that I ended up really liking it. I thought it was pretty good, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you seen Finding Nemo?
Yeah, not in a long time. I remember I wasn't too crazy about Finding Nemo.
See, it's the exact opposite for me. I loved Finding Nemo. Okay. I thought it was original. I thought it was great. I really loved it. But with Dory, I found that it was trying to... I mean, it's called Finding Dory, I mean, it literally tried to cash in on the exact same experience, throw in a new flashy octopus in a couple different settings, and then shit it out and give it to you. Whereas, like, I just...
See, I thought the first half hour or so was that.
Right.
And I was worried for the rest of the movie, and I was like, they're really
that
just
it's just going to be a repeat of the same story.
Yeah, but then it came into its own when it got to the aquarium.
Yes.
The aquarium was about the only redeeming scene for me in that movie, because I did not like
two-thirds of the movie.
Well, I mean, okay, yeah, that's a really good point. It just there were things in the aquarium that I really, really, really liked. Like, the one gag that they kept going back to that, as much as I wasn't enjoying the movie, I laughed my ass off, was that really stupid-looking seal.
Yeah.
Like, with that fucking crazy eyebrows. I was like, every time I saw that stupid-ass seal, I couldn't contain myself. But it just, I don't know, I just could not get drawn in, and I find the character Dory kind of repulsive. Like,
really?
I find her really annoying. She really gets on my nerves. So having the whole movie kind of, just keep going back to her, it's like, it's just the same gag. I forget I'm loud. I forget I'm loud. I forget I'm loud. It's like, I just don't see much in that character. So it's like, when Nemo was in the ocean, he went to the ghetto, and he got to see, like, some color, and, like, he got to, and, like, it just, like, Nemo got to experience things, and, like, it was kind of like, kind of coming of age, whereas, like, Dory's just like, I'm Dory, I'm Ellen, blah, 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 blah. Oh, wait, what's my name? Like, it's just the same gag repeated over and over that I just couldn't get into.
Yeah, I agree that it's kind of repetitive, but I thought they tried to develop it more in this. Have her be less of kind of a slapstick character where the joke is that she forgot something, and actually tried to spin that emotionally.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, it's actually really tragic, the life she lives, that she can't remember who she is or where she came from, and trying to explore that side of it.
Yeah.
And I actually got pretty engaged with it. I loved the world that it explored. I mean, Pixar, they have, like, the best people in the world working at that studio, and they're able... What?
I just want to take a time out real fast because this is, like, the best thing I've ever read. I think I have a long-lost brother out there somewhere. Watched Once Upon... This is from, it looks like Lur Stelid 02. Watched Once Upon a Time in America in a theater recently, and there was this guy who actually kicked a person in the row in front of him in the head for having his phone out during the first 5 minutes. I think I have a brother who was separated at birth because...
Did he think the phone ringing from the soundtrack of the movie was the guy's phone?
Probably. Just kick someone in the head. Like, that'd be amazing. That's my next step, is kick someone in the head. But
man, I wanted to do that to the guy who was listening to his headphones during Malcolm X. He was watching Malcolm X, and he was like, he wasn't in front of me. He was on the side. He was on the aisle that was to the left of me, and he had his headphones and was blasting rap music.
Oh my
and
God.
You could hear it clearly. It was just like during, like, all of his speeches. And
my
stuff.
Wow.
I was like, I cannot believe this guy's fucking listening to his music while watching this movie. And
I would have had a conniption. I probably would have strangled him with the headphone.
He got up and left about halfway through, thankfully.
Oh,
so.
I wonder what he thought. Maybe he thought the real Malcolm X was going to be there. Maybe didn't understand the story of Malcolm X.
Yeah.
But
It's kind of funny. I just rewatched John Waters' Serial Mom. So that movie's like all about killing people that annoy you. It's a satire.
Yeah.
But it popped into my head that if there was a sequel to Serial Mom, that would definitely be part of it, is people, like, texting in theaters or something like that.
Well, isn't God Bless America kind of like that?
Yeah, actually,
kind of.
God Bless America
Yeah.
essentially is, Serial Mom too. That's funny. I didn't think about that.
Young Peter Roll brings up a good point. I agree. I saw how they just copied and pasted from Finding Nemo, but I enjoyed it more than I expected.
Yeah, I had the same experience. I was not really expecting to enjoy it. Because, Pixar has typically avoided doing sequels for the longest time. And I guess just in the current industry climate, you just can't avoid it. You have to do sequels to stuff. You have to build franchises and brands.
You can't just keep making new movies.
Yeah, they've tried for the longest time, but their most successful stuff is the sequels, so they gotta do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've got Incredibles 2 planned, they did Monsters, Inc. 2, they did Cars 2.
3.
Yeah, they're doing Cars 3.
There's a third Cars movie.
It just came out. It's already out.
And they're doing Toy Story 4.
Wait, I thought Spoilers.
I haven't seen Toy Story 3.
Okay.
But I know it ends like, oh, that's this is the last one. I know that's how
I'm
it
not going to
ends.
spoil anything, but I thought, like, this is it. Like, the story is over. Is it a prequel? Like, to the Chinese factory where Woody was made? Like
that could be interesting.
That'd be really fucked up. Like, it's funny that child labor is making toys for kids to play with that they can't play with. That'd be a really interesting
It just
movie,
ruins the
man.
entire trilogy.
Yeah, it just ruins toys. Yeah. What are people saying? I'm loving the comments because people are actually contributing quite a bit. All right, quit talking about is it Anomalisa?
Anomalisa.
Quit talking about Anomalisa. We're talking about Dory. Dang it!
Checked out latest Smash 3 Cars 3. Cars 3 is out?
Yeah,
it's already out. Like
David Thewlis. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
I didn't know Cars 3 was already out. I thought that was in development.
Captain Underpants. I loved that book as a kid. Is that movie out? Captain Underpants?
That's out.
I think it is. Yeah.
Whoa, I haven't been out of the house in like a month, so I don't.
Not quite as good as Cars 2 or The Good. I didn't see The Good Dinosaur.
That was
I didn't see
kind
that
of
one
the
either.
first flop, I think, for Pixar, right?
Probably more fuel for the sequel fire.
Yeah,
One of their original stuff.
The Bad
didn't do too
Dinosaur.
well. Yeah.
It's a prequel to The Bad Batch.
Yeah, I've heard that The Good Dinosaur is good, but I just heard it didn't do that.
I'd like to check it out.
Eddie Moriarty says, Finding Dory would be better if Dory had a load of Polaroid photos and tattoos all over her body telling her things that she had to remember. Dory Mento?
Awesome.
Yeah.
That was fucking awesome.
Dory Mento. That'd be, that's what I'd call it.
Yeah. I think it was part expectation, though, I think this is why I really ended up enjoying stuff like the BFG.
I didn't see that one.
People were kind of like, they were kind of lukewarm on it, and then I watched the BFG, and it was like, I actually thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Is Hugo the CGI? Or is that a real boy? Is he a real boy?
You're talking about the Martin Scorsese movie?
That's a real
that's
live
live action.
That's the only Scorsese movie I
A lot of digital effects, but yeah, mostly live action.
I thought it was like the Polar Express, where it's like a...
No.
If
it had been, that would have been the most amazing CGI ever put on film. No, they just have...
Is Hugo a real boy?
They just have real actors with average CGI in that one.
Oh, God. Okay. Scorsese's not really a CGI horror. He doesn't really do much CG.
Not a lot. Or if he does, he tries not to have like obvious things, like a Jar Jar Binks character.
Right.
Well, it's just like in the background.
You guys have all seen Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
In that boat scene, there's a lot of noticeable CGI.
Yeah.
But you gotta. How can you really get around some of that? I feel like he uses it when it's necessary.
What are sarcasm? The Good Dinosaur is cancer.
Oh, it is. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't catch on the sarcasm. It's hard to get tone in comments.
Jack,
I
you retracted the
apologize
message.
for that.
It was an okay movie, though.
I haven't heard anything about it, so I don't even know what The Good Dinosaur is.
Yeah.
Is that?
It's just like a
Pixar movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Is it like a kid and his dinosaur?
Yeah, it's like a cave boy and a dinosaur.
But I heard I thought the Croods looked like fucking shit, but then people were saying, it's actually pretty good.
With Nicolas Cage, isn't he in that movie?
Yeah.
I didn't like the Croods. My ex-girl.
Inside Out was good.
My ex-girlfriend really loved it, but Inside Out was awesome.
Yeah,
Lewis Black
Inside Out was
killed it.
great. I think
that was an original story that was...
Yeah, I wouldn't put Finding Dory on the same level as like Inside Out, WALL-E, Ratatouille.
WALL-E, somebody says, personally, I think after WALL-E, everything failed for Pixar.
Up is one of their best movies.
Was Ratatouille before WALL-E? Because I really dug Ratatouille. I was like, this is the shit.
My three favorites are Ratatouille, Up, and the very first Toy Story. Those are my three.
Sid. That kid in Toy Story 1, Sid, is so awesome.
I loved Inside Out. I really liked Brave. I thought that was a really good one.
Brave was good.
Yeah.
And I think going into Finding Dory, I was kind of expecting not to really like it so much. And maybe with those kind of lowered expectations, I actually ended up really enjoying it. I thought, it is basically the same world as Finding Nemo, but I thought they expanded on it more. They didn't try to repeat too many of the same characters. They tried to come up with a lot of new original characters for this particular story.
And that's the
They tried to have a real theme that they explored of people. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be like everyone else. You can be different, and that's okay. You don't have to succeed in ways that other people succeed. It's a kid's movie.
All of that went way the fuck over me.
It's a kid's movie.
I was just like, Dory forgets. Wow.
No, but
I thought the octopus was like really dope. Like, those octopus effects were top notch. But
and Ed O'Neill was great as the voice.
Yeah. It just all the themes just went way over me. I was just like, I just wasn't into it.
It's a kid's story. It's about what makes you. And if you're different, that makes you special.
Unless you forget who you are every 30 seconds.
It's cheesy and sentimental, but it's a movie for kids. So I mean, that's a nice theme to explore for
a
kids movie, and sweetly done.
Well, I mean, I'm going to call you out here for a second because I think that saying it's a movie for kids is a cop out. Because I've seen great kids movies that can still stimulate adults intellectually.
The Iron Giant is one.
I mean, I got zero stimulant from anything in Finding Dory, except other than I could have literally put the movie on mute. Well, I was at a theater, but I mean, I could have literally listened to rap music, super loud on headphones, and I could be like, "This is just cool to watch." But I literally got nothing from the film at all. And I was, like I said, I've been going into movies very open-minded. I was trying to be receptive, and I loved Finding Nemo. So I was like, even if this isn't as good because it's a sequel, I'm still, I probably really, really love it. But like, I left the theater with like a hollow feeling inside me. It's like, I got nothing from this. I didn't really get any like big message. I didn't really get anything from it. I really just felt like it was a real cash-in to me. I don't know, that's what bothered me. It's like, I mean, you obviously, you can't tell me to feel a certain way, but it's like, I couldn't get into it. I just could not, and I wanted to really bad.
I reacted more strongly. I got engaged with the characters, especially the new characters like the beluga whale and the whale shark. And the octopus. Yeah. I loved all the new characters that were introduced. I loved the voice acting. I think the voice acting in Pixar stuff is always top notch.
Yeah.
The animation is phenomenal. I love the way they're able to. That they create really photorealistic environments, but they keep the characters themselves very stylized and very cartoony, and they exaggerate everything in their animation. So it's marvelous to look at. These are, I think, some of the most skilled animators in the world for this particular medium, and I think their talent is on full display just in the way they animate the characters and the world. It's gorgeous to look at, and I thought it was well written. I mean, I got engaged with the characters, like the beluga whale that has trouble with his sonar. I thought that was funny. The set pieces I thought were really well done. I mean, I just enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun, entertaining movie.
Right. And
kind of a sappy message,
I'm not
but
telling
I was willing to accept it.
I mean, I'm not saying it's shit. It just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I wound up really enjoying it. So I guess just if you're a Pixar fan, or if you go into it with tempered expectations of just kind of expecting just a really fun, vibrant kids movie, you'll probably really like it. I certainly did.
I was just trying to
the thing is
not break the stream, but there's a lot of really good stuff in the chat right now that you guys can probably hit on. There's a lot of really good points people are making. I was trying to go up. I don't want to break it. Can you help me out?
Yeah, you just have to scroll up here. You use 2 fingers to scroll, and then...
Oh, it's a Mac.
Yeah.
Let's go here.
I was just going to mention really quickly what I really liked about Finding Nemo, that I think Finding Dory kind of does, but not quite as well, is the way it finds the personalities of certain marine animals and brings them out and exaggerates them.
Yeah. Okay.
That is really fun. Yeah.
And the only characters that does that really well with in Dory is the seals. Of them, they're possessive, like, this is my space, mine, off. Like, that's I mean, that's perfect. That's it's.
What was with that one seal?
Yeah.
What was his name? Steve?
I don't remember.
Something like that.
I think it was Steve, but like. That to me, like, that was just so out there that I could not, like, I literally laughed my ass off every time. He was just like,
But with Nemo, though, they had so many ideas of, like, the school of fish operating as one voice.
Right.
And the turtles are just these laid-back stoner dudes.
Yeah.
I like the little crab that was voiced by John Ratzenberger that was, like, trimming the grass like he was trimming hedges.
Oh, like the little French.
Right. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the aquarium scene in Finding Nemo. There's a little shrimp named Jacques who has a French accent. I confused what you're talking about. But the crab cutting the grass.
Little crab,
But it seemed like there was more work in creating the personality of Nemo, that as far as the movie. Like, it's about the ocean and about the lives of the ocean. Whereas Dory is more focused on an emotional character movie.
Yeah, all the characters are kind of related to that theme of embracing your own quirks, like the things that make you are different from other people. So, the whale shark is nearsighted and she can't see very well, but she can still succeed. Everyone's special.
Yeah.
I mean, it is sappy, but I was willing to go along with it. I thought it was cute and sweet.
I feel like no material is off limits if you do it well.
Yeah.
And it does it well. So
I thought so, yeah.
I just wanted to see, like, I don't know, just like, I just wanted them to be like, you know what? Like, fuck Dory. Let her go. Like, I want to see some betrayal. I really wanted to see, like, you know, I want to see real. The animal's like, you know what? I'm gonna rip you in 8 pieces. You know,
that's nature, actually.
And that's it. Yeah. That's it exactly. There was no nature in this movie. It was. I don't know. I'm totally joking. I'm joking, but
somebody mentioned food fight, and this this is a good point. Calling things a kids movie sort of devalues kids themselves. That means we can show them food fight without a second thought. I think the difference is Food Fight is a lazy movie, and I think Finding Dory, there is a lot of care and passion and love and talent that went into it. I think Finding Dory is a legitimate movie, so...
Wow, that's a big fucking statement coming from you.
Is it?
I mean, I don't know. Am I the only one here that's like, you know, like fanboy over Henry? But calling, like, I mean, just the way you and I converse about film, it's like, to hear you say that you think something is a legitimate movie to me means a lot. That holds a lot of weight to me. So it's like, I don't know. It's just like, and with Dory, like I just don't agree with you on the themes that you're picking up. I think you're almost giving it a little bit too much credit because I think that those themes really just kind of went over me, and it was just kind of.
I thought they were very much on the surface. I thought it was being really obvious about it.
And maybe, I don't know, I was stoned when I saw it, but that's not really a big deal for me. Like, I don't usually, like... I saw Hell or High Water when I was stoned, and I was like, this is like the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's like...
That is a great movie. Yeah. But, I mean, I think there's levels. I think there are kids' movies that get really dark. Somebody mentioned Spirited Away, and yeah, that's...
Oh, God, yeah.
That's a movie I think you can love if you're a kid or if you're an adult. It really tries to add a lot more to the experience of being more than just a kids movie. And I think Coraline is another great example that are trying to skirt the line between a film for adults and a film for kids. And I think really finding ways to appeal to both. And Finding Dory, I think, is just a different kind of kids movie. I think a lot went into it. And I think the thing that makes it a legitimate movie is the fact that it's not lazy. If it had been lazily put together, then I wouldn't use the argument that it's a kids movie. The argument it's a kids movie I use just because I thought it was a very well put together movie with a lot of talent and visual, I'm trying to think of the right adjective here, but a lot of visual dazzlement went into it. And yeah, a lot of visual flair. They obviously spent a lot of time working on the technology and creating all these amazing scenes of magnificent scope and trying to expand like what they can do with their tools.
It wasn't maybe like I need to rewatch it. I don't know, but it's...
And I think they took time to try and layer in themes and try to have everything related to the story they were trying to tell and the message they were trying to impart.
It isn't like when Disney does a sequel, like when they do...
It's not Tarzan 2.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not Bambi 2. Yeah. It's not something shit like that.
It has merit as a film. I agree with you.
I think so. I think when Pixar does sequels, there's a lot they just kind of copied from the first movie, so I wouldn't rank Finding Dory as one of their best efforts, but I was genuinely surprised how much I did end up enjoying it.
Yeah. The bombshell question of this entire stream has just been asked. Is there any love for Ralph Bakshi in the room?
Oh,
Ralph Bakshi.
He's an interesting one. I think he's very influential, but...
He did Heavy Metal, right?
No,
okay, whoops.
I mean, that was kind of a similar animation style.
Yeah, animation specifically for adults.
I know I've seen a Bakshi film. I know we have talked about him.
Fritz the Cat?
Fritz the Cat's the famous
Fritz
one.
the Cat. But there was one.
Ice.
Fire and Ice.
Fire and Ice.
Yeah. I remember really loving the animation, but not digging the movie.
He also did the animated Lord of the Rings.
Right.
What's the one? What's his rock and roll movie?
I thought it was Heavy Metal, but
totally he had one that's kind of about
Cool World.
No,
he did.
Someone help us out.
He did like a rock and roll movie it's about like a guitar player.
Really? Are you thinking of Rock and Rule?
No.
Ralph Bakshi rock and roll movie. Anyone help us out?
There's a delay on the stream, so it'll take.
Oh, what are you all stupid? No, I'm just kidding.
I remember seeing bits of this movie. I can't remember what it's called for the life of me, and it was really really great.
Heavy Traffic.
I don't think it was Heavy Traffic. No.
American Pop.
Yeah, that's it. American Pop.
Thank you, Master Barry.
That one, I haven't seen the whole thing. I just saw clips, but that one was really, really interesting.
He was an innovator. He was definitely an innovator. He was one of the first to do animation specifically for adults and to try to operate in an underground style and kind of trying to bring it to the mainstream. And he was also one of the first to take like real photographs and animate characters over them. So like he did a lot of really innovative techniques, like just going out into the ghettos of New York and just taking photographs of all of just like the squalid, poverty-encased shit that was out there in the world and creating like little cartoon characters that existed in those worlds. So I mean, there was a level of social awareness and social commentary to his work that I think was really groundbreaking for the time.
Yeah.
But I think personally, I've never really enjoyed his movies so much. I don't know. I think maybe someone was talking about American Beauty kind of being of its era. I think his movies are very much of their era, and I don't think they've aged so well. I can appreciate his place in animation history, but the stuff that I've seen, I haven't really enjoyed so much. Like, I didn't think Fritz the Cat was that good.
Yeah, I've never really been interested in watching Fritz the Cat, because it seems just kind of like they took sort of what Crumb was doing and then just sort of turned it into something that was kind of like a parody of itself, you know? Like
I guess so, yeah.
It didn't really seem... It was edgy for the time, but it just didn't really seem like it was edgy in the way that Crumb, you know, illustrated it. At least from just my objective, I don't really know much about it, honestly.
I haven't seen most of his stuff. Yeah, American Pop I haven't seen. Wizards I haven't seen.
Oh, yeah,
I thought we watched Wizards together.
I haven't seen Wizards, no.
Wizards is pretty good,
Wizards
actually.
with?
Yeah.
I know I watched Wizards. I thought it was with you.
I have not seen it. I know for sure I haven't seen it.
Huh. I forget who I watched it with, but yeah.
There's some Fritz the Cat. Fritz the Cat was the shit, though.
Yeah, I mean, me, like, I'm a fan of Fritz the Cat. I mean, like, yeah, it's not like the most amazing thing on the planet.
You like it?
I do, and I'm a huge Crumb fan. I mean, I have a tub over there with, you know, a bunch of his books in it. I mean, like, I really love Crumb, so, like, with Fritz the Cat, like, I know that it's not, like, exactly the source material, but, I mean, I don't know. For me, it was just, like, I dug it. I was into it, but I think I was 14 or 15 when I saw it.
That's a good age.
Yeah, it was a really good age for me.
Yeah, you need to watch
and
it,
honestly,
really.
I haven't seen it since then. So, I mean, it's been over 10 years since I've seen it, but when I did see it, I was like, this is fucking raunch. It's awesome. I dig it. Like,
it's like when you play Conker's Bad Fur Day for the first time. Like, if you're like 20-something, you're probably not going to really dig it. Right. If you're like 12.
Well, I actually, like, when I was a little kid, before I saw Crumb or knew who he was, my dad had Crumb comics.
Oh,
so, I mean, like, he had, like, original issues with Crumb stuff in it. So, I mean, I had seen that stuff before, and I had seen that style. And I knew that, like, oh, like, this is, you know, a tribute, you know, to that story, Fritz the Cat.
Yeah.
So then when I got the Criterion of Crumb, I was like, then I finally put it together of who he was.
Yeah, the documentary.
Right, and that documentary is incredible.
Yeah,
it's probably the best biographical documentary ever made.
Very, very true. I mean, and I loved it. So for me, like, Fritz the Cat is definitely, Fritz the Cat was one of the movies, like, Fritz the Cat and Bloodhound Gang, and, like, you know, I think of things like that from my childhood that, like, kind of helped me shape my own vulgar, like, view askew kind of, you know, sense of humor.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it kind of let me know that nothing is off limits. Even a little cartoon cat can be fucked up. You know, it's like, and kind of, you know, push the envelope and don't be afraid. So I think very kindly of Fritz the Cat, but then again, I haven't seen it in over 10 years.
Yeah.
You know.
I just appreciate what Bakshi did of making adult animation, but also just making animation that...
He did the first X-rated animated movie, Fritz the Cat.
Yeah. But then also his style also developed to be more realistic and human proportioned, and that was kind of something that wasn't really catching on at the time, but he did it anyway.
Yeah, that's like what Fire and Ice was,
it was like a sword and sorcery movie.
Aside from the female character, like trying to make her breasts and her thighs as big as possible.
Yeah. That sounds like a Crumb. Like, yeah, that's Crumb.
That's always and that's always Bakshi too.
But I think
Wizards, there's a princess who's very voluptuous.
Yeah, I think he was one of the first to try and trace over live action footage too. To get like all the proportions and movements as realistic as possible. I'm not positive on that.
Well, they did that with Snow White back in the day. They didn't Snow White.
Yeah, they didn't trace over it though.
Oh, really?
Disney's thing was Walt Disney, the actual Walt Disney, not the corporation. he wanted more realism in animation, but he didn't want tracing to be done.
Oh,
He wanted it to still be artistic and expressionistic, so they shot a lot of live-action reference footage that the animators would watch, but he told them, like, you can't copy any of these frames. Like, you can look at it to get a certain movement or perspective right, but, I mean, you have to stylize it. You have to give your interpretation of that.
Huh. Yeah. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Huh.
That old reference footage, still exists for a lot of those movies.
No
like for
shit.
Sleeping Beauty. I think they have it on like the Blu-ray releases.
Oh, well, I mean, like when those Blu-rays come out, they're like $50. So I kind of have. I can either get one of those or 2 Criterions. You know what I mean? So it's like the only Disney Blu-ray. I own 2 Disney Blu-rays. I own strictly because this Blu-ray has been hailed as one of the best to what's the word when you're trying to set your monitor right?
Calibration.
Yeah, calibrate. Pirates of the Caribbean on Blu-ray is supposed to be like one of the best. Yeah, the first one. Yes. But it's supposed to be, with the level of darks and stuff in that movie, it's supposed to be one of the best to calibrate your TV to. And and it's hands down. I think it's on Blu-ray.com's website. It's like the number. I think it's in the top 5 best looking Blu-rays of all time.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean,
I'm trying to think of the cinematographer. I think it's Dory Wolski. She's great.
I don't know.
I think it's the guy that did 7.
Oh, okay, got it.
I might get. I always there's a couple Darius's cinematographers named Darius that I get them confused, unfortunately. But I think one of the Dariuses did that.
Okay. And then I own Beauty and the Beast, which is my favorite Disney movie of all time. No, I haven't seen the live action. No, I don't give a shit.
Which one?
Beauty and the Beast.
Oh yeah.
And like it has a ton of features on it. It's like the 19-disc diamond out of Walt Disney's butt edition. I mean, it's. You know how they do with all their editions, but that's the only Disney Blu-ray.
They care about their quality.
They really do.
That's what I say. I mean, I think you can give Disney all the shit in the world as a corporation, but I do honestly believe the people that are trying to make like the big Disney movies, and especially the people at Pixar, this is why I'm kind of easy on Finding Dory's, because like, it's a sequel, and it's trying to play into a lot of just the trends that we're seeing now, but I genuinely believe that within that evil Disney corporation, there are real artists working there trying to do really good work. Right, so, like, if Pixar has to do a sequel, they're going to try and do it as well as they can. Because the people that work there are passionate about what they do.
I agree with that, for sure.
What was it? They released a Blu-ray...
Oh, Don Hertzfeldt. Yeah, he's a great one.
Yeah, he's one of the best working right now.
What did he do?
Nothing terribly big, but his most famous film is probably Rejected.
Yeah, Rejected.
You've probably seen it on YouTube. It's the Rejected commercials for like cereal and.
Yeah, it's like my anus is bleeding.
My spoon is too big, and the banana comes out. I'm a banana.
What?
You
guys are.
It's really good. Yeah, it's a great little.
Somebody mentioned Plimpton, and I thought,
Bill Plimpton.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
he does everything by hand. Yeah, just a guy, piece of paper, and a pencil. Yeah, I love Plimpton.
I got to meet Bill Plimpton.
Oh, is he cool?
Yeah, he's cool. Just said hi.
He's kind of grumpy sometimes.
Was he at like Chipotle or something?
No, it was actually a really cool event. It was in Portland. So for those who don't know, Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, he's a Portlander as well. And his father, Homer Groening, was actually a Portland underground filmmaker. And they had a big film festival at the Hollywood Theater in Portland just showing Homer Groening films. And Bill Plimpton was the moderator. And he had Homer Groening and Lisa Groening there to talk about their father's films.
Wow.
And just afterwards, I just was like, hey, and waved to Bill Plimpton and Matt Groening. So I didn't really get to talk to them because they had a big crowd of people, but just at least got
hi.
Yeah,
that's how I greeted Shaq.
Yeah.
Hey Shaq. Yeah. Like I got to meet Shaq.
But he was sticking around and like signing stuff.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Taking pictures. Cool. I didn't want to be like, I didn't really have anything to say, honestly, just because so I was just kind of like, hey, thanks for what you do. And,
you didn't want to assault him.
Somebody asked maybe where you think that you should start with Bill Plimpton.
His shorts.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to think.
10 Ways to Kiss? Was that?
Yeah, How to Kiss.
I
think it's like 10, 20 Ways to Quit Smoking.
Yeah.
The shorts that he did. I think he produced them for MTV or VH1. Maybe
it was MTV.
MTV, okay, yeah. He did these little short films. It was just him animating frame by frame, just by himself, photographing it piece by piece. But I think those shorts are a great introduction to his style. So, like, yeah, look up Ways to Quit Smoking or How to Kiss. I think those are really funny.
Cheatin' is on Netflix.
Cheatin' is on Netflix, and I thought Cheatin' was very good. I really like that one, too. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his. Were you going to say something before we started talking about Hertzfeld and Plimpton?
I'm on a whole other level.
Okay, all right.
Hertzfeld is great, though. I haven't seen his most recent World of Tomorrow. Is that his most recent?
World of Tomorrow.
Oh yeah, Hertzfeld. Yeah, World of Tomorrow is really good. I like that one.
I haven't seen that one.
Didn't you? We watched it. You got the Blu-ray, right?
Oh yeah, we watched that one. The one after that.
It's Such a Beautiful Day.
I haven't seen that.
Okay.
That's a heartbreaking movie.
Yeah.
That's a really beautiful one. Hertzfeld's another one. He just does everything by pencil and paper, just by himself.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really stripped down and minimalist, but he's great. Really original.
Oh god, I'm hung up on this movie. I can't remember any of the details about it, but it was an animated movie I really loved. Go ahead, it'll come to me.
What do you guys think about The Land Before Time? My favorite movie as a dinosaur-obsessed kid before I saw Jurassic Park. I still think it's very good and touching.
Dinosaurs was big in the 90s.
Yeah.
That was...
I remember The Land Before Time. I had never heard about it. It was on the VHS for Casper. There was a Land Before Time trailer. And I was like, holy shit, this looks amazing.
You know the tape where you can find the trailer for Land Before Time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, I remember I asked my dad, because we lived, like, right next door to a Hollywood Video. And I was like, hey, there's a dinosaur movie called Land Before Time. Like, can we rent it? And I remember... I don't remember going to the movie store, but I remember my dad, somehow in some way presenting me the tape and watching it and just being completely captivated by it. I haven't seen it literally since those days.
Yeah,
I have no idea
I
if it
think
holds up.
we used to watch it quite a bit.
Yeah, I think we owned Land Before Time.
Littlefoot for life, though.
Yeah, Littlefoot.
Is there TP? Was TP the little flappy?
I don't know. I remember
Ducky. I remember Ducky.
I remember Sharktooth.
Sharktooth. Sharktooth.
Yeah, the T-Rexes.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think Land Before Time was a VHS tape we owned when we were kids, and I remember watching it all the time.
Yeah.
But it's been, I think, at least a decade, probably more.
William Kentridge. Aren't you a fan of William Kentridge?
William Kentridge?
Yeah. Doesn't he do those drawings? Like those, aren't they like charcoal drawings of like movie scenes and stuff like that? But they're cartoon, kind of?
It doesn't ring a bell.
Huh. You had one of, I think it was Captain Phillips.
Oh,
it was
is that guy's name? I don't know his name.
I think it is.
But it wasn't charcoal drawings. It was I think just like hand drawn. I don't know.
Oh, I could be.
I think that's someone else.
Could be crossing
Great
streams
Showdowns
here.
is the series I really like.
I think he's talking about someone else.
Yeah.
Someone gave me a little shout out. Nice Alien versus Predator shirt. That's pretty clever, dude.
Oh man!
Hats off to you. I was hoping somebody would say something. That's fucking awesome, dude. Good for you. Yeah. I'm actually beginning. I just got this shirt in the mail, and I went and ran some errands today, and I've never gotten so many compliments on a shirt in my life. And I live for shirts like this, so thanks for throwing that out there. That's pretty clever,
Michael
man.
Jackson may have passed on, but jokes are still alive and well.
Yeah, right? It's like, these are my two favorite aliens in the world, so it's a nice little family photo. But what else do we got here?
I haven't seen Land Before Time, though, probably in at least 10, 15 years, and I really don't remember pretty much anything from it.
It's been over 20 years since I've seen it.
Sometimes
I just know
revisiting can be kind of hard because we watched Rear Back recently.
Oh, yeah. That's the other dinosaur
that
one.
That one has not aged well.
Oh,
I didn't think it was that bad.
That was pretty bad.
You ever try to watch Rugrats again?
No.
I used to love Rugrats. I was all about the rats. But, I rewatched it, and I was like, this is dog shit. I couldn't even finish an episode.
Wow.
Wow. I used to love Rugrats, but now I really don't like it anymore.
I don't think I'd want to revisit the Land Before Time sequels, because that's one of those ones they just keep the series going. I don't know how many they've done now, but I would kind of like to go back to the first one.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think... I think. The first one was Don Bluth.
Oh, yeah. Don Bluth is kind of an underrated one.
He's great.
I like Don Bluth.
Yeah.
Can we talk more about Casper? No, I'm just kidding.
I haven't seen Casper.
Dude,
man, it's probably some of the best cameos of any movie.
Oh yeah, we got Rod. Yeah, you have tons of.
How much longer till you think we get the dark, gritty Casper reboot?
I'm ready for it.
We got a fucking dark Archie reboot. So
Riverdale, yeah.
we're gonna get a fucking dark Casper. Doesn't that just sound like the dumbest shit you've ever heard? A dark Archie show?
You know how I feel about Archie and Jughead. It's like, I fucking hate... I think that was... I mean, I know how influential they were, but I hate all that stuff.
I mean, I know like 15 minutes ago I just said, hey, if it's done well, then you can do any idea right, but...
No, that doesn't work for that, like, at all.
Fucking Dark Archie just sounds... I don't know.
Talk about preconceived notions. Even though we're consciously trying to eliminate all our preconceived notions, it's almost impossible.
It is.
There's always going to be something out there that makes you go like, "Oh, that's stupid. I'm not going to give that a chance."
Jeez,
we're only human.
Yeah. You know what has aged incredibly well, and I take more from it now than I did when I was a kid, especially the music. Hey Arnold.
Oh, I love Arnold.
Yeah, Hey Arnold's dope.
I got back into that back in college when I was, whenever I'd be working on like a paper, for some reason I'd keep thinking about that show, and I started like killing time whenever I'd be like hit a block. I would watch Hey Arnold. Yeah, and like I really enjoyed it. Right, revisiting it.
Yeah, I really do. Like the music is like. Mm-hmm. It's top notch. Yeah, and then another really good animated one. Rocko's Modern Life.
Ooh, yeah. I just started. I just watched that one. Yeah,
one of the best animated shows.
You got the DVD, and you
went through the whole series on like one disc.
No, it actually lasted 4 seasons.
Oh, did it? Okay,
yeah, it lasted a while. Yeah,
but you rewatched all of Rocko, and then I watched it when you were done with it. And yeah, that's still a pretty good show. Yeah. Really subversive. There was a lot of really terrific stuff in the '90s, like kids shows. That was actually really subversive, like Ren and Stimpy.
Ren and Stimpy? Yeah. Did you see the recent? By recent, I mean I think it was within the last 10 years or a little over 10 years. But they did like some adult Ren and Stimpy shit.
I watched like maybe 2 of those, and I thought it was so awful that I didn't even want to watch.
I mean, they're bad, but at the same time, it's like they had like nudity and stuff in them. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was pretty nuts, but. I remember the original show was really, really dope, and then
the original show was great.
And then I had the whole line. They did a line of comic book series with Marvel, and really? They literally, and I actually just sold them all and made a lot of money. It was one of the very first, issues. I think it was issue number 3 or 4, or maybe the second one was Powder Toast Man versus Spider-Man. And so it's kind of a little Marvel crossover there. Cool. Yeah, it was pretty dope. But I couldn't believe it. I put them on eBay and I made like a pretty penny off the Ren and Stimpy comic book series. So I was really fucking surprised.
There are some episodes of Ren and Stimpy that I think are classics, like the Space Madness episode. I think is a great one.
I think with Rocko's Modern Life, the Wacky Deli 2-parter is probably one of the best.
The Wacky Deli,
yeah, it's probably the best.
That's such a good satire.
Yeah, that's the best satire of the animated show, like the syndicated animated television show.
The Wacky Deli, isn't that the one where isn't the Wacky Deli a show?
Yeah, it's a show that Rocko creates. Yeah. It's one of the best. You can tell that it's basically the writers venting about working within Nickelodeon.
Right.
And it's one of the funniest things.
The one episode that always, whenever someone says Rocko's Modern Life, this episode always comes to mind first. It was one of the most striking to me as a kid, but I think Rocko gets his appendix removed.
Oh, yeah.
And he takes it to the carnival and stuff like that.
Yeah, he becomes friends with his appendix.
Yeah, I don't remember that being... Does it have a little hat?
Yeah.
Little baseball cap.
Yeah, it's a little baseball cap. I remember that being fucked up as a kid. Yeah. But what are people saying? Courage the Cowardly Dog.
That's a great show, too. I watched that recently, and it's very, very moody and dark.
It's super dark. Yeah.
And I remember reading an interview with the creator that he's like, he said that he wanted to scare kids with the show, and it succeeded because it was a terrifying show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very unsettling. It's an incredibly uncomfortable, unsettling show.
It breaks the tension. Eustace is a great character and is hilarious.
Eustace is the dad, right?
The old cranky old man.
I call him Courage's dad. He's the old man.
Yeah, he's a very funny character, but
doesn't he have a huge jaw? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's the only one that sort of breaks the tension of that show.
Because he doesn't believe in any of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. The rest of the show is very, very dark and troubling.
Yeah.
God, have you ever seen the You're Not Perfect episode?
I don't know.
That's the one with the creature, right? The CGI creature?
Yeah, Courage's inner...
Isn't that where he opens the front door? And he's kind of like...
No, that's King Ramses.
Oh, okay.
Return the Slav.
Yeah.
In the final episode, they basically did not give a shit. And they created probably the most fucking nightmare fuel character. It's not even a physical being. It's Courage's inner, basically inner fears.
Yeah.
All
personified
into a being, and it's like this blue man. And I don't know if it even has a name, but the only line it has is it looks in the camera and goes, "You're not perfect." He whispers it, and it's like it's fucking. It is
dope.
Yeah.
That's
very
so
dark
awesome.
Finding Dory.
Yeah.
You're not perfect. That's great.
Yeah, it
What a
is.
great message
Jesus
for
Christ,
kids.
yeah.
Beavis and Butthead to America. That actually is a good one.
Oh yeah.
I think Beavis and Butthead is looked down upon as just being the dumbest, most crude show. But I think Mike Judge is actually really intelligent and really smart at what he does. And I think Beavis and Butthead is almost like a surrealist act. It's kind of like, it's a confrontational piece of crudeness.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it also expresses like a pure anger he has
Yeah.
at just society in general.
Yeah, most certainly. And I didn't want to talk about this show, but I guess without animation, I guess we really can't, because I can't talk about it unbiasedly because it's my favorite animated show of all time. And I'm just a huge fanboy, and I can't say a bad thing about it. But King of the Hill is
We were talking about King of the Hill on the way up here.
I own every single season. I can recite almost every single episode. I am absolutely in love, and I adore King of the Hill. And I think that King of the Hill just captures life, like a small photo of life, so perfectly.
King of the Hill is like there's a character in Beavis and Butthead that is basically Hank Hill. It's the same voice and everything.
Isn't it their
like,
neighbor?
I think so. Yeah. It's King of the Hill is basically that character, like the satire of that character, but with sympathy added.
Yeah.
Because he actually cares for the characters in King of the Hill, and there is
Beavis
a level of
Butthead.
emotional involvement.
Right.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead, he hates the characters and wants them to
Beavis
fail.
and Butthead is just sheer anger all the way through.
Yeah, but King of the Hill has real emotion.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't get sappy either. It's a very satirical show, and it makes fun of the characters, but it cares about its characters.
Right.
Yeah.
It wants you to really feel bad for Bill, and and sort of like and really like sympathize, I guess, with everybody. You kind of want Bobby to succeed.
It gets you on Hank's side most of the time.
Yeah.
He's kind of fighting against certain things or jerks or assholes. You're sympathetic with them.
Right.
Yeah,
And is there a more tragic character in any show or movie than Bill Dauterive?
God damn.
I mean, Bill's life is so hard to watch.
But
There's kind of a similar character in Bob's Burgers named Teddy.
Okay, I've not seen a single episode of
Bob's Burgers is great. It's really fun.
It's one of those shows that also everyone tells me I need to watch.
It's good.
I've been watching it. It's really funny.
But yeah, Bill Dauterive. I think maybe if Mike Judge is most anger channels his anger to one character, I'd say it's Bill Dauterive.
Yeah,
because it's kind of the high school jock failed life personified.
Oh, absolutely, because
right.
he was the bulldozer.
Yeah,
and he was their number one halfback,
sort
and
of the guy that you kind of hated in high school. His life is shit now.
And then he went into the Marines and all that. And he was like a big jarhead and went up. But then again, though, I mean, when you look back at Bill, he didn't seem unkind.
That's true. Yeah,
He wasn't like a mean jock. But it's still, I mean, because I think that he wants you to like Bill, but his life completely went down the shitter.
His glory days are basically well behind him.
Yeah.
I think that first episode of King of the Hill is pretty brilliant. Where it's the one where he goes to that like Home Depot type place. And all this
where can I find a hammer?
Yeah. Where do I find the hardware department? Oh, what is it you're looking for? The hardware department. That's pretty great observational comedy. It's funny because they put it in a cartoon so kids watch it, but most of that stuff's just going to go right over a kid's head.
I only really responded to like the Bobby Hill stuff when I was a kid, but when I'm older, like I just see more and more of the. Not even like the jokes, just the behavior.
Yeah, the observations.
Yeah.
He was playing that Tomb Raider game the other day where he was a girl.
Somebody posted a funny photo on Reddit the other day of Bobby holding a cheerleader's uniform, and Hank walks in. Was there better be a naked cheerleader under your bed?
Yeah. Oh man, you know, there's one of my favorite Bobby episodes is an episode where David Cross, one of my all-time favorite comedians, Tobias from Arrested Development.
Oh yeah.
He is the guest voice, and he plays, I think it's Lloyd is his name, and he's a huge cult leader. Not huge, but I mean he plays a cult leader. Like they work.
Nobody's ever successful in a
no,
Mike
and
Judge
it's
story.
really just him and a couple friends, and Bobby starts getting into Wiccan stuff and like witchcraft.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah, and David Cross, to initiate him into the cult, they make him drink dog blood, and Hank, they're doing this ritual in the woods, and Hank comes busting through the trees, and it's like I'm gonna do what your father should have done. Kick your ass, and it's just like, and Bobby's about to drink dog blood, it's an incredible episode.
It's pretty obvious that Mike Judge knows all of those characters. He knows those people,
absolutely.
and he knows exactly how they talk. And
Especially
exactly
Boomhauer. You know there's somebody in his life that is Boomhauer.
Oh yeah.
Did
you know that
exactly that?
in the episode with Boomhauer's brother, Brad Pitt is the voice of Boomhauer's brother?
Really?
Yeah.
It's like how on South Park they got George Clooney to voice the dog.
Yeah. That's all he does. That's in one of the first episodes, too.
Yeah.
And that was actually, South Park got a lot of buzz, and it had a lot of pressure to have guest stars, like The Simpsons.
Right.
And so basically to say, fuck you, they got George Clooney to play a dog.
And just wolf.
Yeah, and I think they got Jay Leno.
Jay Leno played the cat.
Yeah.
And then they offered the part of Turkey Number 2 to Jerry Seinfeld. He declined.
That's funny.
What a square.
Yeah.
What are people saying? Are they telling us we're stupid? Oh, Office Space. Okay,
yeah.
I grew up on King of the Hill and The Simpsons.
I think somebody mentioned SpongeBob SquarePants too. That's a really good show too. But
young
only
Peter
the
Before the
first
movie.
3 seasons.
Yeah.
Before they realized what they had.
Yeah, I think this happens with basically every show. They start with something really specific, and then I think maybe they'll start with characters that are parodies of something or exaggerations of something, and then as the show goes on, they have to push those aspects further and further and further to the point where, if it's a long-running show, by the time you get to season 9 or 10, all of the characters have basically become parodies of themselves. And you can't really take it seriously anymore. I think SpongeBob has become that. But if you go back to the first 3-4 seasons, it's a really good show. It's really funny. And it's got that kind of Ren and Stimpy style where they combine different styles of animation and surrealism. There's some live action thrown in there.
Yeah.
There's clips from Fishing with John. So Jim Jarmusch is in an episode.
Yeah.
There's something really cool and underground and subversive in those early seasons. But then it became a big thing, and now all of the characters basically they just yell and scream the whole time.
I didn't see.
It's not really as clever as it used to be.
Yeah, I can't believe they made a new movie.
Did it
really
do anything?
I think it did pretty well.
It seemed.
And
very
you know what?
weird.
I watched the movies on Hulu. They're not bad. I kind of enjoyed the movies.
There's parts of the first one that I remember fondly.
I never saw a single SpongeBob movie.
Yeah, there's only 2, but.
I think the show has really just kind of become kind of annoying. But now, the movies, I don't think are that bad. It's like when they did the Simpsons movie. They put a lot into it. It's like even though the more modern seasons of the Simpsons really haven't been as good, the movie felt really good because they really took some time on that
as soon as this stream is over, I'm gonna go buy the Hey Arnold box set, the Ren and Stimpy box set, the Rocko's Modern Life box set.
On nostalgia.
Yeah, it's just mainly I think
Nickelodeon a lot of business.
Oh yeah, their Amazon's gonna blow up. But I think if at the end of the stream, what I wouldn't mind going back and revisiting SpongeBob, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Rocko.
Rocko, yeah.
You know what I feel like they could bring back and have it work now because it's kind of more relevant? Freakazoid.
I love Freakazoid.
I remember Freakazoid, but I barely remember Freakazoid.
I think they could actually bring back Freakazoid. Netflix, if they wanted to, they could reboot Freakazoid.
But it would all be CGI animation.
Yeah, but it's we're living in the age of superhero movies now, and now it's all about making fun of superheroes. And
I guess
it could do it really, really well.
I feel like there's a lot of humor in it that would probably go over the audience that would be into it now, the kids that are watching all the cartoon shows on Netflix. I feel like if they were try to stay true to a lot of the humor of the original show, where they're referencing a lot of classic Hollywood stuff, they're referencing B movies
That's true,
and
yeah.
kind of like
lots and lots of stuff being
like underground stuff
Island
and
of
lesser
Dr.
known.
Moreau.
Yeah. They're referencing the Crawling Eye and
Yeah.
the original Wolfman movies.
Right.
There's a lot of esoteric humor in it that I think probably would just get cut out now
Yeah,
I think you're
broaden
that's a
the
good
appeal.
point.
Yeah. But
I
just,
don't know. I think
It's
just
fun.
honestly, you should just leave stuff in the era that it came from.
yeah. Well, I
Somebody's
suppose.
mentioning Moral Oral. That's an Adult Swim show, I think.
Oh.
From the same studio that made Anomalisa. That's interesting. But yeah, we were talking about Adult Swim stuff, too.
Oh, yeah,
There's
Adult
a lot
Swim.
of Adult Swim shows that I kind of want to check out, like Moral Oral and The Heart She Holler. I haven't seen any of Tim and Eric. I want to check
I'm a
that
big
out.
Tim and Eric fan. I love
Yeah.
Tim and Eric.
You know, Tim and Eric for me are very hit and miss because their humor is like right up my alley. But I find I'm more critical of their stuff than anything else because I feel like if I were to make a show, it'd be very much like Tim and Eric. So when certain bits don't work, I'm like, I know what I would do differently there. So kind of like when you said that you kind of have that hard time sometimes of turning off the film school kind of mode.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Tim and Eric. Where like if something's genius, I'm all about it. Like I don't know if there is a character. One of my all-time favorite characters ever is Dr. Steve Brule.
Uh,
You know
John C.
what I mean?
Reilly.
Yeah, it's like even in the weaker episodes of because I think they only put like 8 episodes in a season, but even in some of the weaker episodes, like I just laugh my ass off. Like John C. Reilly, is a hero to me, and Tim and Eric are geniuses, but I find I'm really critical of their stuff sometimes.
yeah.
I've seen a few Adult Swim shows, and I've liked most of what I've seen. I've seen all of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I really like that show. Sea Lab 2021 I really like. Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law I really like.
Have you ever
always
watched
liked,
Space Ghost?
Yeah, I used to love
Yeah,
Space
Space
Ghost.
Ghost.
I've been watching all this stuff on Hulu, and Space Ghost isn't on Hulu. I've been
Really?
really wanting to
I
revisit
thought that'd
it.
totally be on there.
It's not on there.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been really wanting to revisit it, but I can't figure out how to see it.
What were you saying?
I was gonna say Robot Chicken. I've always liked.
Oh yeah, that's a funny show. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
10 minutes,
Pretty
and like
much
each
missing.
sketch is like 15 seconds.
yeah.
I'm
Nothing like a popsicle
melting
outside.
and I'm starving. Like I'm.
Oh, okay.
We'll
Should we
probably
bring it to a
wrap
close
up,
soon?
yeah.
Let's
Okay.
wrap up.
I think though that Adult Swim, a lot of those shows, like Adult Swim is kind of like the last refuge for like real surrealism
Yeah.
and like almost like Dadaist humor of trying to confront people with strangeness and nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm reading Louise Buñuel's book right now, My Last Sigh, and it's giving me much more of a context for surrealism and what was motivating that artistic movement. I feel like Adult Swim is like the last modern-day refuge for real full-on surrealism
Right.
and Dadaism, and I really appreciate that. Where
Absolutely.
the point is to try and tell a conventional joke, or even necessarily to get a laugh. The point is to just confound and confuse people.
Right. And
And
the
I-
Eric Andre show, not animated, but
Oh
the
yeah,
Eric
I
Andre
saw
show.
one episode of that.
Yeah,
and
I
it was
mean,
strange.
it's fucking out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
But
the thing
there's a
about
part of
Adult
me-
Swim is that they can pay their bills. I mean, like, people
Uh-huh.
love it, and
Yeah.
it's so weird.
Even if I'm not really enjoying the stuff I watch on Adult Swim, there's a part of me that really enjoys it. That they're just kind of like, fuck you if you don't get it. You
Exactly.
don't have to get it.
And I think that the thing about Adult Swim that is very, very lucky nowadays is meme culture. You know what I mean? I think that without the surgence of meme culture and the birth of the meme movement, I mean, it's almost like Adult Swim is like the meme channel. Because I feel like those things, it's like a meme of television.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And it just throws it in your face, and it doesn't apologize, and it's really weird and out there, and you either get it or you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And it's for me, it's hit and miss too. Like, and same thing with memes. Like, there's some memes that are really stupid, but then sometimes it just frickin' like prequel memes just is like brilliant to me. Have you heard about prequel memes?
Is that for Star Wars?
Yeah, for
yeah.
Star Wars.
Uh,
I only get about 2 out of every 10.
Yeah,
Like some of them are way too deep, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the what?
it's made me like prequel memes has made me appreciate the prequels. Like
That is a bold statement, sir.
I think
Yeah.
the prequels obsess people's imagination and consciousness
Yeah.
far more than the original trilogy.
exactly the fact like there is sequel memes, but it sucks. Like prequel memes is where it's at.
Yeah.
And I love that that's sort of like the humor. I mean, I understand it's not for everybody, and that's kind of what Adult Swim is. But when it really hits you, it really, really
Yeah, I think the point is to cause a reaction.
Yeah.
Whether it's positive or negative, I think the point is to polarize and to try and inspire a reaction.
Yeah, for sure.
So, are you guys about ready to bring this to a close?
My tummy's rumbling. I'm sweating.
I'm very dehydrated. My jaw hurts, and I'm ready for food.
Yep.
But
any just real quick questions?
Somebody did ask. Movies for Life asked, "What movie characters have inspired you guys the most?" For me, it's the Dude and Gordon Gekko.
Wow,
that's an interesting combo.
That is a very, very good combo.
That's like yin and yang.
That's one I can really, really relate to because I think everyone always asks, like, "You're a movie guy. What's your favorite movie?" And for a long time, I never had an answer. But I think The Big Lebowski is my favorite movie of all time.
Really?
I really think so. And I mean, every time I see that movie, something else is funny to me. Something else pops out to me that I never noticed before. So, I mean, The Big Lebowski, I'd say The Big Lebowski is definitely inspiration for me, the Dude. And it sucks that you said that because I would have said that anyway. But if I had to pick 2 or 3 characters do you guys mind if I go first?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll kick it off.
The Dude and Gordon Gekko, but not from the first Wall Street, from Money Never Sleeps.
Right. For you?
No.
No. Greed is good.
Film.
Yeah, man. Greed is good, man. But definitely the Dude, because for me, and let me tell you why. The Dude, for me, just represents just being alright with not being anything. You know, he doesn't have any money, he doesn't have shit, his friends are really weird and strange. But he's content with his life, and that is something that I've really tried to learn within the last year. I used to have a super good paying job and a really nice sports car, and I thought I was hot shit, and then I just realized I really wasn't happy. And after watching The Big Lebowski and kind of seeing the Dude who his car is a piece of shit, his life is kind of in shambles, but he's alright with it, and he doesn't give a fuck what anyone else says or thinks about. That has been a major influence to me, huge, definitely a big influence. I'd say my second influence, one of my all-time favorite movie characters, and one that definitely I feel like I can relate to a lot, is Randall from Clerks. Jeff Anderson did a great job with Randall, and I just kind of felt like in most friendships and in most places, I am Randall. You know, the way I talk and the way I kind of treat people sometimes. I know that he might not be the best person in the world, but Randall definitely represents everything that's wrong with me and everything that is vulgar about me and how I kind of don't and refuse to apologize for that. Mm-hmm. Kevin Smith just knocked out of the park with Randall, and I really, really feel for that guy a lot.
Yeah.
I'd say those were 2 of my most inspired characters, guys that just mean a lot. I mean, there's tons. I mean, I'm just looking at my movie wall right now, and I can just every movie I see, I take a little bit of something from Rocky, and I take a little bit of something from John Wick, and
obviously Dirk Diggler from Boogie Nights.
We actually only have one thing in common, and that's that we're both are really not well endowed. No, just kidding. But yeah, I mean, but it's I mean, those 2 guys are some of my favorite characters in cinema history, and so that's kind of it for me.
Yeah, I think for me, the only one that really comes readily to mind is the guy from Into the Wild. I'm blanking on his name right now. Christopher McCandless. The movie Into the Wild was one of my favorite movies for the longest time. It still is one that I really like. But there was something about that character that really appealed to me. I guess his rebelliousness, his need to try and, I guess, live outside of convention, do something different, and try to break away from his origins and the place that he was born into, because I grew up in a small town, and I've always wanted to be an artist and live in an artistic place, and so I guess I've always felt disconnected in that way. And the first time I saw Into the Wild, I haven't read the book. I want to read it, but I haven't gotten to it yet. But I remember watching Into the Wild for the first time, really connecting very strongly to that character, and sort of trying to base my personality on him a little bit, but I was never able to fully commit to it. I don't think I would ever end up living in the wilderness, but I guess that deviant spirit is something I've tried to carry with me. Same thing, actually, Hunter S. Thompson, as portrayed by Johnny Depp in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, was another big influence on me. I even tried to talk like him for a long time. I gave that up because nobody can pull that off in real life. except for him.
Yeah.
But I guess, yeah, just trying to maintain a sort of deviant mindset of questioning everything, rebelling against things. Yeah, and I guess trying to live and think and create in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
That's been a big influence on me. As far as characters, mostly my influences are like artists and directors and
Real
writers.
people.
Yeah, but as far as like movie characters,
and that was the question: was movie characters.
As far as like movie characters, those are the two that come most readily to mind for me.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, it's tough to say because I'm the same way. Where it's I think more in terms of directors, musicians, but I will kind of talk about a character that has recently been a big source of inspiration for me because I've been watching the series and kind of getting really involved in it, is Special Agent Dale Cooper. And this is specifically in the original run of Twin Peaks. There's an attitude with that character that his love for life is so great, and yet he deals in a
how much he appreciates the little pleasures.
That's something that I've been sort of trying to take a lesson from. I think that was Lynch was trying to communicate that this guy, he's investigating the murder of a teenage girl, and yet he is going to stop and enjoy a nice piece of cherry pie and coffee and talk endlessly about how delicious this cherry pie is and how the coffee is the best cup of coffee he's ever had, and just the joy he's able to take, and just take a minute out and just fucking enjoy his pie and coffee, and then go to the autopsy, and switch his brain into a different mode of thinking. But just getting the most out of life. And also there's a line that has really been speaking to me personally recently. Just there's a scene in the original Twin Peaks where Cooper gets shot, and he's shot in the stomach, he falls over, there's nobody around to help him. And if you've never seen the show, he has a little tape recorder that he records his daily activities to that he sends back to his secretary, Diane. And he starts his tape recorder after he's shot, and he's all alone in his room. Nobody knows he's there. Nobody knows he's hurt or wounded. And he starts going on about what it's like being shot. He says, "It feels like there's somebody dropped a bowling ball on my chest." And I thought, even though this is like the greatest pain I've ever felt in my life, and he's saying this all very calmly, this is probably the greatest pain I've ever felt in my life. But honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. And then after that he says, and then after that, before he passes out, he goes, "And that's really the key to life, is if you can keep fear from your brain, nothing is ever as bad as you think it is." And then he passes out, and you don't know what's going to happen to him after that.
Very profound.
Yeah, and I've been keeping that quote in mind recently because I'm going through a lot of changes in my life, our lives really. I'm probably going to, I have a good job right now, but in order to move here to Portland, I got to quit my job. I got to go back into the job market. I got to, figure out insurance and housing and all that shit. And it's a pain.
Got to play by the rules.
But then that quote I keep thinking about Cooper lying in a pool of his own blood, talking to a tape recorder saying, "It's not that bad." Like, that keeps playing in my head, and that's been a constant source for inspiration in my recent days. So I'll go ahead and say Dale Cooper for this part of my life.
Congrats.
Big inspiration.
I think I saw something for one last
Somebody
thing.
wanted to ask you one last question. It was, what was his name?
Henry.
Can I
tell you something real quick? Film Cash, Film $, UK terrestrial film channel, showed The Night is Young the other night. Great film, really enjoyed it. Anyway, I'm looking at the character Boris and thinking, I know that guy. Who is that? Really tip of my tongue. I purposely watched the credits. Boris is played by Hugo Pratt, legendary Italian cartoonist most famous for Corto Maltese. They've done a few animated films of the character. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you. I was pretty impressed. I didn't know Pratt had acted anything, and he was pretty fucking good. I'm not familiar with this animator. What was his name? Hugo Pratt. I'll have to look into him. I don't have my list for writing.
Could be Chris's
dad.
Maybe Chris Pratt. Yeah, I'll look into that though. I've never heard of Hugo Pratt, but I'll have to try. Oh, Film 4. Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, Shift 4.
Yeah, let go of Shift, man.
Film 4.
It's okay.
Yeah, Film $. I'm like, oh, this is too contrasting.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for that. I'll have to check out some of Hugo Pratt's work. I'd never heard of him before. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, Agent Cooper, you're in good company.
Zach Hayes. But first off, Henry and Denny, thanks for. I mean, yeah, we're in my house, but thanks for. Gotta tell you,
thanks for hosting us.
Yeah. I'm happy to host the show.
Had a good time.
Host the location. I didn't host the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on the channel. Thanks for letting me share with you guys.
I think you did good work, sir.
I was very worried because they wanted to talk about Kubo and Lil Numo.
Yeah.
And, I'd never really see those, but
sorry we weren't able to have a lot of interaction with the chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of got into our things. I guess when we do the group streams, chat gets a little left behind, so I apologize for that, but it'll probably be just me and Denny next week. We'll be talking about Twin Peaks and hopefully engaging with the chat and sharing some conspiracy theories.
Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate you giving me a shout out there, dude. For the record, my name is Felix.
Oh, we keep calling you Mike?
Yeah.
We know him as Mike, but he's Felix. Mike.
I pulled a Kanye or a Puff Daddy. And my actual name is Felix Michael Milan. My dad's name is also Felix. So to prevent confusion, I always went by my middle name. So whenever someone would call or send a letter, God forbid, it would come to Mike or Felix. So now that I'm an adult, I don't live in the same house. Felix is way cooler than Mike. No offense to any Mikes maybe watching, but so yeah, I'm Felix.
Okay, Felix.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for joining us. And yeah, I guess we'll see you next week. Hope you all had a good time, and hope everyone has a good week. Watches some good movies.
Stay cool.
See ya.